describes acts of extreme violence in graphic detail and may include discussions about demonology and the occult, topics that caused widespread panic during the 1980s. This content may not be suitable for children under the age of 50. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the GROGTALK with your hosts, Dan and James.
And hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GROGTALK. I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
So Dan, episode 75, and they said we wouldn't last 75 of these shenanigans, and who would have thought? So with that, where are we from today?
Today we are coming from the Crippled Unicorn in the village of Pell.
The Crippled Unicorn. Oh,
It is.
What is it known for?
Oh, sure, I'll let you. Oh, I'm glad you asked. I like the one inn remains open in Pell. Right off the bat, yeah, you're there to adventure, mate. This doesn't sound like, a vacation, right? It sounds like some malls I know. Did you hear that? One inn remains open, the Crippled Unicorn. It's a gathering place for the remaining men of the village. There's only a few rooms left to let. Can you guess the charge?
For staying there?
Yeah, so, it's a kind of a rundown village, not a lot of people still living there. As a matter of fact, if you want, we're told by our friend Bill Fawcett, who wrote this is from Beastmaker Mountain, that you can stay in an abandoned cottage or something. Oh. I think some of them may not have roofs.
Isn't that squatting, basically?
It is, but I'm not so sure there's a real military force in town.
I see.
So how much would you pay to stay in a room at the Crippled Unicorn?
I would pay a copper piece, but I'm sure it's probably like a gold piece. It's extravagantly expensive.
It's in between. It's 5 silver a night, but the good news is the food is plentiful and hearty, and the Oder Tattums offers a blanket deal to adventurers of 5 gold pieces a week for all the food they desire. This is like, wow. So Bill Fawcett was already thinking about like the all-you-can-eat buffet.
It's a Sandals. It's an all-inclusive resort.
It is. So yeah, that's where we're at. But payment in advance is necessary if you mention that you plan on entering the nearby villa. So obviously he expects you not to live, Tattums.
I see that. That's very good. But we're still in the abyss. We feel like, but we've just decided we're willing ourselves out of the abyss. Is that basically what we're trying to do?
We're delirious. We're dying. I'm imagining. You know it's bad when what you're imagining better is that you're at the Crippled Unicorn.
Right. This is the last stages between slipping the mortal coil when your brain is losing oxygen. That's good.
Why is it that inns, it seems like it almost has to be, you have to have some sort of adjective, right? Like the drunken whatever,
right.
Or the Crippled Unicorn, the hungry this. It's almost, you got to do it, right?
Right. Why is it not just one word? Like we have McDonald's, Shoney's.
Right.
Perkins. It really should be someone's name.
Saul's. We should open up Saul's.
Yeah. Saul's Emporium. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you name an inn or a tavern from any of the adventures you've run that had just a single name? That was because what was it? What's in Hamlet? Was that the wench? Wench?
The whiny wench. I think it is the whiny wench.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But again, see, can you think? I can't think of any.
It's either definitely 2 words. Alliteration is preferred.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's what. Okay.
Well, that will be our thing in our adventures. It has to be Bob's or something like that. Saul's.
Right.
The
chain. Right. The franchise.
Oh, good. They have a Bob's here in this.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Where's Bob? He hasn't been around forever. We just kept the name. So it's the Dread Pirate Roberts. Exactly. So, the Welcome Wench. Thank you. Welcome Wench. See, that's what's great about, we see if people are paying attention, because we can just say something that's wrong and they're Johnny on the spot. So
We have a very smart audience.
we are, and versed, which we're very
Small
fortunate.
but smart.
Small but smart. That's good too. All right, so we got a good show today. We've got some announcements. First of all, we can continue to officially announce, the announcing will continue to be official, that GrogCon 2 or GrogCon 81, we're not quite sure what the name is it's going to be.
Can I add, because I'm a co-organizer of a convention, and I'm really not sure what the name is.
We're sure what the name is. You have asked for other names to be considered.
Well, those were rejected. So GrogCon, it was accepted.
Yes.
And then apparently, it was rejected. Apparently a mistake was made. The mistake being James didn't know what he was thinking when he typed in yes to that text. So what you meant to type into that text was no,
right,
instead of yes.
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
I got it. Because I was confused. Because I said, can we call it GrogCon 1981? I think you actually said something like, sure,
right.
Maybe it was, I don't know. You're not usually an exclamation point kind of guy, but I don't know. And so I announced it as that. And then you had to go and consult other people.
Right. Well, right. 1981, and then it was GrogCon 81, and I think that's where I started getting confused. So.
Wait, the move from 1981 to 81. Okay, and then so that was out because they was concerned that people would not realize it was in fact happening.
Yeah.
And so then
right.
It went to 2.
Right.
And now I see a lot of stuff where it's GrogCon 2020. And so my point of all this, you see where I'm going with this, don't you? My GrogCon 1981 was rejected for being too confusing.
Right.
And how are things going now?
It is, for a small, obscure convention, we've done everything we can to make it more difficult to find us. So
to keep people from coming.
Right. So if you would like to go to the convention that we are hosting this October, please go out to grogcon.com. How's that? And
that's the name.
What?
That's it. The convention that we are hosting.
Okay. The convention. The
convention that we are hosting October 15th through the 17th.
That's right.
2021.
Yeah.
Brought to you by GrogTalk.
That's right. Convention.
Not affiliated with GrogCon.
That's right.
Wait, yes, affiliated with GrogCon.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a wholly owned convention. We are hosting. That's good. That rolls off the tongue. I love it.
All right.
Okay.
Why not another name?
Just call it whatever you want. It's like we have a project name, and we'll call it something. So that will be in Orlando, Kissimmee area. The tickets should be starting to be available in April. They usually set that stuff up. So, but if you have any questions beforehand, go to the website, or you can send an email to info@grogcon.com, or go out to Discord, and we will. So we're going to have a planning meeting in the next month with the folks at Crucible who host the big convention, and then we'll figure out who we're going to have. It says sign up for 2020. I thought I changed it to 2021. Okay, let me fix that too. I just fixed that, but I'll have to fix it.
If people point out our errors in the chat, it's not required that you announce it on the podcast so it's there on the internets for all eternity. Just pointing that out.
Well, yeah, it's still it's
the charm of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you missed it. It was a few months ago. No one came.
Where was everyone?
We were just sitting there by ourselves. So, and if you are a patron of a Electrum or higher, going to GrogCon for the basic package or the basic entrance is on us, because you guys are super cool. And so thank you to patrons that really we do this for you all and for us to have a good time and get together. So hopefully that will work. Speaking of patron fun things, is Flipping and Turning 2.5 is available. We've had both issues. Rob, our editor, has told me there's been hundreds of downloads. How's that?
That's very impressive.
It's just it's incredible. So issue 3 is being worked on now. So for those who have committed to, I know Rob will be happy, or Chamberlain and Brandywine would be happy if I say, if you've committed to some work for this episode, get on it if you haven't done it. And if you would like to contribute, there'll be more episodes or issues. So feel free to submit it at editor@grogcon.com. Okay.
And it's funny. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I am, and I now believe you probably are too. You know, I think there's a site, I can't remember the name of it. As you can tell, I do a lot of prep for the show, where it lists RPG contributors, like authors of published work. And so now I think all of us,
right, because
we're on Drive Through RPG, everybody who's contributed, I believe now, will have. It's a sort of like, what is it? The IB. What's the one?
ISBN? Oh no, IMDb, the movie one.
Yeah, the one where you're in film.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we all now have. You will find a record of your work.
You need to update your vitae and your and your bio when you speak at the convention. In fact, I'll need your bio to put up on GrogCon. You know.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And of course we'll need your headshot.
Right. Exactly.
What do they used to call those? It was just a headshot, but right,
you'd go to glamour shots if they didn't have
glamour shot.
Right.
We'll need your glamour. Thank you. We'll need your glamour shot.
You know, some weird. It was always some weird pose. So.
And it seemed like it always had been taken like 15 years earlier.
Right. And it's very bright, and it's like.
Well, and young, right? So a lot of the shots you're like, okay, no, you don't look that way.
No, not at all. Yeah, please. Yeah, I've got a full head of hair still. Yeah.
You look like Albie Fiore.
That's right. I don't think I've ever looked like Albie Fiore. Unfortunately, he had the fro kind of thing. So no. I have something that our dear friend Lane made for me and Nico. Look at that. It's he handcrafted the D&D logo, and I'll be putting that up. So it's the latest version of the D&D logo, which is super cool. Thanks to him.
It is very cool. He did that in woodcraft.
He did it in woodcraft, yes. So for those in podcasting, wow. Imagine the modern D&D logo, but in a wood carving. It's an excellent job he did. So thank you for that.
That is very impressive. I wonder how much he paid what license fee was for him to be able to do that.
Loyalty.
That was the coach. Fan content policy, whatever.
Fan content
Just
policy.
throw that out there. Fair use.
Fair use, exactly.
Well, if we're talking about gifts, would this be a good time?
Sure, we could talk about that.
To bring up, because can you see that there, James?
I can see it. So I think our friends can see it as well. That is, why don't you explain this to them?
Sure. So this is a gift. James is always very thoughtful around the holiday times. Otherwise, it's not just the holiday times, but thoughtful around the holiday times. He always gets me a gift, which is very nice of him, and he always puts a lot of thought and effort into it. And he bought me Secrets of the Gnomes, a beautiful book about gnomes. And let me just mention a couple things. Not only is it 200 pages in full color, but in addition, do you know what the copyright of this was?
82? 80.
The English translation, this book is legit about gnomes when there's an English translation. So apparently it was in the original Gnomish is when it came out in the original Gnomish. De Oprop der Kaubuters. Interestingly, Gnomish sounds a bit like German. Who would have thunk it? 1981.
Okay.
How appropriate is that?
I knew it was produced in the time frame that would be acceptable. That was part of the conditions of the gift I got you. So.
And I'm going to read, I know because you love going along on the show, I'm going to read just so people understand what this book is about. This is the sequel because as you were candid enough to say, you didn't want to spend that much money on me for the original.
Well, the original is out there, but there's a paperback version. But this one I got because it's a little more subversive. So I figured if you like this one, you could go back and get the other one. So
it is. I know you're talking about like the Stream Goddess, for example, which we can't show, unfortunately, on the air. But just use your imagination, my fellow gnomes. So this is very interesting. Rian Portvliet and Will Hugin, collaborating once again as they did so successfully in Abrams' best-selling Gnomes, now reveal to thousands of eager readers their recent encounters in the mysterious world of those tiny folk. Secrets of the Gnomes is the fascinating account of a long, arduous journey undertaken by the authors at the request of the Gnomes. It is overflowing with the authors' on-the-scene sketches and first-hand observations. And I'll just give you a little bit more, and then we'll move on, because this is what's really threw me. And this, you're going to be shocked by this. I don't know if you read this. Portflet and Hugin are not invited as mere observers, however, for after a meal of mushrooms and cream, tasting as if it were made of everything that light, air, sun, moon, and earth could produce, they find that they have been turned into gnomes themselves. And that's where the adventure begins. So I will probably be, we should probably have a new segment.
Right. You should
and see what happens to them.
Right. You should do that. Well, I had not seen you mention this series of books before, and it was not as garden gnomey when I looked at it, and I bought it and I gave it to you because I didn't want to peruse it. I didn't want to be like, oh, this one's pretty good, or be tempted by the gnomish charms that are in there, because clearly I'm not a friend of the gnomes, as you said. But
and that's why I didn't mention my interest in these books, because I feared that you would then, once alerted to them, you would defile them.
That's why I gave it to you. You saw I gave you the package, so you knew I did not touch it at all. Right. If there was any profane or anything that happened to it, it was not my fault. I did not purchase it. But it looked really cool. I mean, again, and there's actually a collection one that you may want to get that has this one and another one as well. So again, it was my pleasure getting for you. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you, James.
It's pretty cool. But there's some pretty subversive things in there, which I thought was cool too. So very cool. So get it. It's out there. And in fact, they have newer books and all kinds of things. And if you're a gnomophile, they're probably the two go-to people you need to talk to.
Or you like scantily clad women.
Yes.
Either of those. Wait, if you like both of those.
Yes. And they're anatomically off women.
Well, okay. I guess I really don't have time to read. Do we have time for me to read this?
You have as much time as you want.
All right,
this is our
carry
show.
On with the show. Yeah, you're right. Carry on with the show. And
it's about gnomes. All right, so after you're ready for that, we're ready for Best of 1981, which is this. Oh my God. Apparently, this is the Best of 1981.
I think these are those chicken things or turkey things. What are those things don't look at? They'll turn you to stone.
Oh, cockatrices?
Oh my God, look, they're surrounded by cockatrices. I don't know if you can see that. It's awesome.
Yeah, the raging cockatrices. Ride the Cockatrice, which is that great ride from, when the carnival comes in. The Ride the Cockatrice.
Yes, with the flesh pole.
At the Flesh Pole Festival, exactly. That's what we should call the convention, the Flesh Pole Festival.
Yes, the Flesh Pole Festival. We probably would get a larger crowd.
Right, we get a large, and so you go to the hotel and you go, we need to reserve a conference. We're doing a convention. Oh, really? Yeah. What's the name of it? Flesh Pole Festival.
Yes. A lot of gnomes with scantily clad women are showing up. This is awesome.
Big meat piles everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome. So it's the Best of 1981, by the way.
Oh, okay. So, as our listeners may know, this year we're celebrating 1981, which, of course, was 40 years ago. So, I purchased, this book for $6 or so on the internet, Events of 1981. And so since the last time we met here, a couple of things that have happened. So, unfortunately, war between guerrillas. A guerrilla war with Marxist rebels in El Salvador has begun. Okay. The Iranian government accepts cash being unfrozen in exchange for the hostages. Okay, that's all boring. But Monday the 12th, a TV series starts. This TV show is starring Joan Collins. It will start a 9-year run on NBC. James, can you name that show? And don't pretend like you don't know and weren't a big fan.
Dynasty. It's definitely Dynasty.
You are correct, sir. Dynasty started. We also, ready for this? The 13th of January, 1981, Donna Griffiths, 12, she's 12, of Pershore, Worcestershire, England, or is it Worcestershire? England, begins 978 days of something. Can you name what it is? 978 days of repetitive something twice a minute.
Hiccups.
That's a very good guess. Sneezing.
Sneezing.
The first contact lens come on the 14th. Okay.
Well, she'd be in her 50s now, so she'd be similar age to us. Maybe we can get her on the show. And
that would be an excellent guest. We should have her on the show. I agree with that. That's a great idea. I mean, because this is not what we're doing now is not related to first edition AD&D. So, and we need to get better ratings. Okay, ready for this? On the 15th, a groundbreaking U.S. police drama series is first broadcast on NBC. Name that show.
Groundbreaking. Hill Street Blues?
Sir, you are correct. You're doing excellent. You're 2 for 3. You got the 2 TV shows right.
That's all I did was watch TV. I was 11.
This is perfect. Seems to be a lot of violence in England and in the London area. The Iran hostage crisis ends. Reagan is sworn into office, of course. The 21st, a sports car is manufactured in Dunmurry, Northern Ireland. The first one of this brand. Can you name it?
Yes.
Will you go ahead and name it then?
The DeLorean.
You are absolutely correct, sir. You are like a 1981 trivia machine.
It's amazing. I lived during that time. How about that? So.
Yeah, but your memory's so good, and I think that is really so. Those are the big events for this past couple of weeks in 1981. And can you name the #1 song? Billboard.
I screwed up the last time. I don't know. I forgot what it was 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to go with 1981. Let's REO Speedwagon.
It's the John Lennon song again.
Oh, yeah, that one. That's right, John Lennon.
Was starting over?
Yeah, starting. Well, he wasn't starting over at that point. He'd been dead for over a month. So, as we mentioned last time.
And I forgot. So, you want to know about the TV shows?
If you want, sure.
Well, I had them printed out, and now they're gone.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't lose your connection, then I don't care.
How am I doing?
So far, you're okay. But I'm always with dread and trepidation when you go off of that. So, and per the Chamberlain from Australia, who had a wonderful conversation with yesterday, and he is working on the tournament / land resolution. So we're going to probably be able to announce that in March. And while you look that up, just tell me when you're ready. One thing we do need to announce as well is we have a new Patreon exclusive starting next month. We have a new campaign that you, me, and Rob are going to run for 6 sessions. You remember that?
I do remember that. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, so we're starting February 27th from 12 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. And Rob, the editor of Flipping and Turning, Dan, and myself will alternate being Dungeon Masters. And so what we'll do is we'll invite our highest tiered patrons, and they get the first shot if they want to go, and then it will go down. If some of them can't make it, then it will go the next. So everyone has potentially a chance. The higher tier you are, the more likely you get to play with us. You don't have to play the whole campaign. You could play one time. It's kind of drop in and drop out. Yes, the Empire game. So, and that's so it'll be every other month. We're hoping to start in February. It'll be a 6-session mini campaign ending at the end of the year. It's again we're trying to just keep doing exciting things for the folks who support us. Both Dan and I are just so super thrilled with, the Discord is going great. People are having a great time. The magazine's going great. It's just well beyond our wildest dreams. Because you know what happens on this Wednesday, speaking of anniversaries. What's this Wednesday?
The 4-year anniversary from our meeting?
No, that's close. Our first YouTube video was posted on January 27th, 2 years ago.
Wow. Okay. That is quite, that is, thank you. I was not aware of that anniversary. And I don't know if you were stalling or not, but I've got the shows. Here's the shows from January 12th.
Okay.
That was when Dynasty premieres. That was a Monday. I like to switch up the days of the week. So you tell me what you're going to watch. ABC is Dynasty. This is a new show.
Right.
On CBS, so apparently it's Dynasty, all night, apparently. CBS, MASH, then Flow, and then Lou Grant. Flow, remember Flow?
Flow was a offshoot of Dinah, wasn't it?
Is she Eat My Grits?
Yeah, she is Eat My Grits.
Alice.
Alice, not
Alice.
Flo. Yeah, Alice. That's right. Not Diana. Alice.
Eat My Grits.
Yeah.
Flo was Eat My Grits. You're
That's
right. Yes.
So that's they already had an offshoot of that. Yep.
That's right. Alice, I guess Alice is very 70s. Lou Grant, and then Lou Grant. That's your CBS line. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good.
MASH, Flo, Lou Grant.
Yeah.
And Flo's getting a great spot there between MASH and Lou Grant. And I guess all night on NBC is Little House on the Prairie. What are you watching, James?
Well, I'm definitely not watching Little House on the Prairie. I thought that was as lame as it gets.
Yeah, I bet.
Flo, Lou Grant, I actually started, I don't know if that was the age I started actually liking that kind of news journalism show. So MASH was getting long in the tooth at that point. And even
it's like, really? That war's still going on?
Yeah, even at 11, I was kind of like, So I'm probably playing with my Atari. That's probably what I'm doing.
You're doing right. You're not watching anything.
No, not watching.
Wow,
anything.
no TV night. And just a real quick mention, of course, don't forget that January 30th and February 1st, River City Con is coming up. It's held at the Casumes River College in Sacramento, California. It is sponsored by the college's Office of Community Services. It's going to be featuring, you ready for this? A 300-player AD&D tournament.
Wow.
James, this is
81.
1981. Consummate's River College in Sacramento is getting a 300-player AD&D tournament plus movies, merchant booths, demonstrations, informal gaming. More information, please contact Allenson L. Hertzberg, care of the Consummate's College Office of Community Services, 8401 Center Parkway, Sacramento, California. Are you going?
I'd love to. 300's amazing. If we got 40 at GROGTALK, aka the convention we are hosting, we would be stunned. 300, well, I can't imagine.
My mom won't let me go.
She won't let you go across the country to do that? No.
No, she says I have to wait for a tournament to come into our town, and that's not.
That is not happening. So,
I can't even go to Gen Con South in Jackson.
That's a little bit too far away. I'm not driving you up there.
Right? What am I going to do all day?
Yeah.
Go to the movies.
The only time right. Yeah, my mother would not do that. I had to be old enough. I would go in the city and go to the conventions there. That's what have to happen. But that was much older. That was not even in a realm of possibility. Again, if you just had the Holy Trinity and maybe you then started getting the magazines, did you actually realize people got together? I don't even think it was even a concept. It's just like, you don't get together to play Monopoly, right? You played Monopoly. Now there are Monopoly tournaments and conventions, but when you bought Monopoly or Stratego, you didn't go, hey, we should go to the Stratego convention. That's kind of how I thought about D&D at the time. I really didn't put those together until much later.
Alrighty,
we're ready for random encounter. So Little House on the Prairie was Saddam Hussein's favorite TV show per the Chamberlain. And Dukes of Hazzard, yes, I would definitely watch Dukes of Hazzard. If that was on. And we all know why I'm watching Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes, the Daisy Dukes.
Got cars flipping over and Daisy in her Dukes. So there you go.
Got it. This is horrible. My D6 has gone missing. And you know who I suspect? A kitten of some kind. So, James, you're going to have to, as you can see, I'm up looking around. I don't see anything. James, you're going to have to do our Dorso roll, which, of course, is screwing everything up. Oh, I thought you were about to sneeze and start 978 days of repetitive sneezing.
Okay. I want to mute myself so I don't torture the poor people. Ooh, look, I'm out of... That's hard. Okay, wow, I was autofocus.
Are you starting repetitive sneezing?
No, I hope not. I rolled a 1.
That'd be a good spell. Is there a cantrip where you make somebody else sneeze?
Yes.
That's awesome, but it's not 978 days of repetitive sneezing. Okay. Just once?
I feel like once or twice.
Okay.
Someone looked that up in the book that shall not be named. Which, by the way, I did a funny for us. I created method 6. I photoshopped the book that shall not be named page because you remember method 5 for humans is just ridiculous. You can roll 9 dice for strength if you're a fighter. So I photoshopped it and I put method 6. Just give yourself basically all 18s.
Well, that's funny because I saw that, and I just assumed coming from that book, it was real. I'm like, oh, that's wow. James is now all right. Fine. James is a fan of. He's gone to the dark. He's a fan of the, Method 6 of UA. Fine.
What do you mean? Well, I don't understand why people didn't get it. You mean they haven't studied the book that shall not be named and realized? See, that right? The seeds of satire have a kernel of truth in it. So
I think we're having a bad influence. We're scaring people away. Like, oh,
because people are like, well, what's because I put, oh, why is this controversial? And then they're like, yeah, I don't remember Method 6. Yeah, because there is no Method 6. I made it up. So.
You see what's subtle humor. It's good,
It was
though.
subtle. It was so subtle that no one got it.
Right.
So
that's okay. I like
it was the ultimate inside joke.
Okay, which book are we dealing with?
I rolled a 1, so that's Fiendfolio.
Okay, that's fitting because that's 1981. Do we have a name for our Basilisk champ?
His name is Basilisk at this point. I like Basil.
Basil was good.
I like Basil because it's a very
Basil
yeah. Or Basil, whichever one you'd like to call him.
Well, that's right. In the UK, I think it would be Basil. So our UK friends.
We'll call him Basil until someone else
Basil
comes
Rathbone.
up.
Who's Basil Rathbone?
It sounds familiar.
Isn't it? Is it Sherlock Holmes or something?
I think
Basil
so,
Rathbone.
yeah.
Okay.
Basil. Now we named him. He's a dead man. So.
He is a dead. Well, he doesn't. Well, no. He's got the gaze, that stoning ability.
Yeah,
you can't get rid of this guy.
That's pretty good. Stoning's good.
All right, I'm rolling a D10.
Okay.
Unless you want to roll.
No, you can roll it.
I do have a D10. No, you usually roll it, don't you?
All right. I'll roll it. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. I rolled it. But so is that 4 or not?
5.
Subarctic conditions.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay, so now I need to know the predominant terrain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need out of 7, so I guess an 8, and we'll ignore an 8.
3. See, sneezing cantrip. Area effect 1 person. Casting time half a segment. There you go. That was from the book that shot. Thank you, Jason.
That is one of the good parts of that book. We're in the forest in the subarctic condition.
No, it's like where the reindeer live, I guess.
Well, we'll find out what lives there. All right, now
Basil
it's time.
Rathbone, Sir Guy of Guillaume, Guyborn from Robin Hood, Esteban from Mark of Zorro, and plus many more. There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just a common name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir Basil Rathbone. No, I think that character is from all the Robin Hood things.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I need percentiles, sir.
This is why our people are awesome.
They are.
So for those who want to start a show, just be ignorant and people will answer your questions for you. It's wonderful. 85.
85.
Oh, Best of Dragon 3. Okay. What was Troll?
Troll.
There you go. We haven't had a Troll.
We've not. All right.
So I'm not. Yeah, go in the classic. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I'll quiz you on the Troll. So Random Encounter, of course, is our segment where we randomly roll a monster and then we talk about it.
We learn about the monster and then we have it fight the previous monster.
And then the winner goes on to.
And thank you for doing that. We did get some comments. We still have new people coming, and they're like, "What are you guys talking about?" We talked about being in the abyss or this or that. So we're trying to remind ourselves that not everyone has been listening to the show from the beginning. So thank you, great job there. That was nice.
We're trying to improve. Thank you. And of course, the great thing about. Oh, wait, no. I'm such an idiot. I was like, the great thing about the Troll is he's lifting up a person. I'm looking at the tree end.
Yeah, the tree end is great.
The Troll is not eating a person. Okay, but this is interesting.
But there's a great picture with a troll, if you remember. It's not in that
Okay,
book.
there is. There's a picture of a troll in Troll. Okay,
Yep.
So I'll show this. Can you guys
see
that?
Yeah, they can see it. I don't want to look at it because you quizzed me, so I'm not looking
That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm holding up the exam. But what's interesting about it is have you ever played A Wizard in the Heart of a Hobgoblin Lair, a First Encounter magazine, published in the early 80s in Canada by our friend Kelly Villamere and others? There's an advertisement for Good Stuff Games, and you ready for this? Can you see that drawing?
Yes.
They took that drawing.
Come to our store, Human Scum. That's their tagline. That's what we should put as our convention. Come to our convention, Human Scum.
But so yes, you did pick up on probably the more interesting part of that, which is that great slogan. But it's the same picture. It's the same drawing. They use that drawing.
Which did they get use for it? Does it say TSR? I don't think so.
No, it did not. So,
Well, if I'm going to update the website, I'm just going to put GROGTALK 28120. Come to our con, human scum. I'm going to just do that.
right. Come to our con. Yeah. So come to our con hyphen and then caps human scum exclamation point. And we need. Oh, and we're like the two-headed troll.
We are. That's what I'm saying.
And so, right. And so it's
It's
perfect
all
for
working
us.
together.
I love it. Okay. Frequency, sir.
I think they're uncommon.
They are uncommon, which is okay.
Slightly disturbing, but okay.
I would have thought, look, if the hill giant's common, I would have thought trolls are common because trolls seem to be everywhere, right? You can't even go try to kill a red dragon.
Right, you can't shake a stick when there's a troll somewhere. Right.
Right. What I thought was interesting in the Hobbit is that they were wearing clothes. They had pants.
Right.
I mean, they're not totally, they're not walking around. What's that word for when you're walking around in the nude? Is flagrante or something like that?
Commando? No, that's without underwear.
Naked?
Naked? Yeah. I've heard this term before.
Birthday suit?
It's called naked? I don't know.
There's like a naked troll over there. This is not right. Okay, put some pants on. Okay. Bill, here. Okay, ready for disturbing? Number appearing.
It's some crazy amount, like 2 to 12 or 2 to 16 or something like that.
1 to 12, very close. 1 to 12. AC.
5, 4.
4. Now, why do you have an AC of 4 as a troll? Is it because you have a thick
rubbery skin?
hide?
I don't know, but 4 is that they're ridiculous.
Yeah, movement.
I think it's 12.
Yeah, that's pretty scary too, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't outrun them. You can't outrace them unless you're a monk.
That's hard. Percent. I'm sorry. Hit dice.
6 plus 3, if I remember correctly.
Wow, 6 plus 6.
6 plus
Very
6.
Good. Oh, but that's very good. I mean, that's like an A minus. Percent in layer.
30%.
40%. And what I now appreciate about the percent in layer is, of course, the percent in layer to me. You know what its relevance is? The percent not in layer.
Right. Exactly.
So 60% of the time they're like out and about. That's not good.
Well, it's also relevant because their treasure is typically in their lair. So that's why you want to be near their lair. Or a lot of times, like with the dragon, you kill the dragon flying. Their hoard is not. They're not carrying with them. So smart adventurers will follow the dragon back to his lair.
Oh, so that could be that could be an adventure plot where it starts with the dragon is dead and like no one can find, everyone's going crazy.
Right.
Like they see it comes to the town, the dragon's down.
Right.
Or, I mean, I guess it's very Hobbit-esque. And then right
except he doesn't live in the misty, he doesn't live in the big mountain. They don't know where he lives. So
yeah, you're just all over the place, right? And now it's just like people are coming from. There's just hordes of people coming. Buses are coming at wagons filled with
It's like a gold rush, right? Exactly. Hey,
it would be a gold rush. Okay.
I like that. That's a good adventure. Dragon.
Right. It starts. Yeah. You know what you could do then is you start the adventure with the dragon attack. That would be a great beginning. Right. You're just like, there you are. A dragon is attacking. You're in town. You're at the one of our bars. You're at the the groaning spirit, or whatever adjective you want, right? You're riding the whatever.
Yeah, Dan, hold on. You sound good, but I can't see your video. Turn off your video on and off. See if it'll come back.
Video off?
It's off. Yeah.
Video on.
Okay, video on. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. You're back again. Thank you.
I'm glad you didn't lose the audio because that was gold. What I was just talking about.
That was good. I like it. It's very exciting. Dragon attack. You kill the dragon. Now you're kind of figuring out where the treasure is.
Right. Okay. Number of attacks for the troll.
Yes, it's Skyrim. Yes, exactly. I didn't want to tell him that.
It's what? Oh, that's another adventure's already been written? Oh.
No, Dragon has. Skyrim has. It's all about dragons, and the first thing you're the protagonist, but you're not looking for his treasure directly. You're just the dragons are back. But yes,
it's. I seem to have good ideas. 40 years too late.
Right.
Like, remember I said what would be awesome is like this adventure where, because I think I'd read Conan. I can't remember which one it was, where he's in prison. He's down in this dark thing and he's got to get out. And I'm like, that would be a great start. You're like in prison and you got to escape. And you were like, yeah, that's basically what, A4?
Yeah, A4, right.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that was 40 years ago." Like, okay. There's nothing new under the sun. Do you agree with this? Okay, do you agree? And this is surely wrong to an extent, but in large part, there's really no new D&D adventures. You just got to do things, run them well, or have little interesting things in there. But I mean, are they really new?
Sure. I mean, you could say that about, unfortunately, you could say that about a lot of things. There's nothing new under the sun. It's
Yeah.
pretty biblical. But, it's the story is what is Star Wars, right? It's a Western Joseph Campbell or whatever, hero's journey kind of thing. So, but,
Yeah, I mean,
people take parts and they emphasize others, and we have short lives. So, it doesn't take much. Only the most jaded and people who are learned know that it's repeat. So most people are like, oh, it's new.
I think that's right. I think it's like cooking. And, I'm going to make a chicken dish. Okay, I got to make it a little different, right? It's not like it's something terribly different. Okay, but we do got number of attacks for a troll. This is where things get even more scary.
3.
You got it, and the damage.
I'm gonna 5 to 8, 5 to 8, 2 to 12.
Sir, you are a national treasure. That is absolutely
Did
correct.
I get it right? Wow,
You got it right, 100%. This is like an A-. This is the grade I'm giving on this one. I mean, because there's a little bit, but when you were off, it was just by a little. So there's that one student who got it all right.
Yeah.
Everyone hates that dude. He's read this a million times. You're like, dude, get a life.
Yeah,
Okay.
There it is. This is because people are. Oh, by the way, you haven't. I don't know if you've been on Discord.
I have.
You see the book reunification project, but this one there's no reunifying because this is my book.
You were never parted. Yeah. So for those that don't know, the book reunification project. I feel like when I'm dead, people are going to be like, Dan had some good ideas. So this book reunification program, which I suggested and
now it's taken off.
James, quote, fell apart. Thanks for that. Now it's gotten some interest, and but people are concerned. So the idea of this is to reunify people with their old books because so many of us put our names like James did. James did it the right way. James used that little clicker gun. And so to reunify books with their former owners, but people are now saying they don't want to give their books back. So that's sort of...
Well, I think part of it needs to be, many of us, and myself included, I had all the books, but some of the books disappeared or people gave them away and then they got interested and bought them. So someone has your book. So if you have a book, all you need to do is figure out, if everyone got together, then in theory you could get back your original books back. It may have to go through 5 hands, but you could get your books back.
Well, what you could also do, too, is you could agree to return it if the person, the prior owner, sent you a new version. Because I think for most of us, it's not like you're like, oh, I really need to have Ed Dormandy's DMG. That's the one I want, right? I mean, look, Ed Dormandy's DMG is falling apart.
Yeah, I'll need a picture of that so you can put that on Discord.
Oh, well, you know what? I actually contacted Ed Dormandy on Facebook.
You did?
And to talk to them, I think, he actually responded a year later. And he's like, that's not me. I'm like, are you serious? He was like the right age. His name was Ed Dormandy. I'm like, oh, I got this. And he's like, yeah, no, not me.
Wow.
And it's gone. It's a cold case, James. Yeah. It's a cold case. So yeah, Ed Dormandy was my DMG. All right, let's talk. Oh, intelligence for the trolls. Oh, you don't have your grade in yet. I'm sorry, I entered the quiz too quickly.
I'm gonna go with low.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been the easiest of all. It just seems to make sense. You're right. Yeah, low. And alignment?
They're chaotic evil.
They are, sir. Wow. Size?
They're small. No, they're large.
Yep, 9 feet tall, plus tall. And of course, they don't have psionics. Okay, you did outstanding. These look to be scary creatures. Let's see what Gary says. Oh, trolls are horrid carnivores. Do they enjoy human flesh? Found in nearly every clime. So that's where we see them. That's the problem.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
They're even in the subarctic. They are feared by most creatures as a troll knows no fear and attacks unceasingly. So the no morale check for the troll. Is that would you take that as meaning?
Correct.
No morale check?
Yep.
That's what unceasing means, right? It doesn't cease.
Right.
Okay.
Without ceasing. Yep.
Their sense of smell is very acute. They do have large noses. Their infravision is superior. I didn't know that. They have 90 feet infravision, and their strength is very great. A troll attacks with its clawed forelimbs and its great teeth. So he's just like
Right.
digging into like a wild animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. A troll is able to fight 3 different opponents at once. I did not know that. Did you know that? You probably knew that.
He could do, yeah. I've heard that, but normally they just wail on the one guy.
Because usually you're like, okay, he's attacking Bob. Yeah, so now, wait, this is important information. So if I'm at a game and like it comes at me and it's like 3 attacks on you, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? I mean, the troll is 3 different ones. Spread the love, right?
Exactly.
3 melee rounds after being damaged. Now this, of course, is the problem. And this is what I want to talk about. 3 melee rounds after being damaged, a troll begin to regenerate. Regeneration repairs damage at 3 hit points per round. So, okay, so this is just general. This is just the healing of wounds in part. I know we're going to get to the, hey, my leg is coming back to me. But, so you're just getting 3 hit points per round, which is
after the third round, right.
After the 3rd round. This regeneration includes rebonding of severed members. The loathsome members of a troll can have the ability to fight on, even if severed from the body. A hand can claw or strangle, the head bite, etc. Total dismemberment will not slay a troll, for its parts will slither and scuttle together, rejoin, and the troll will arise whole and ready to continue combat. To kill a troll, the monster must be burned or immersed in acid, any separate pieces being treated in the same fashion, or they create a hole again in 3 to 8 melee rounds. Okay, or they create a hole again. Okay, wait, okay, so I'm fighting a troll.
Yes.
Number 1.
The one question came out in the chat, is the troll on the ethereal plane? I said, no, we're not going to talk about the ethereal plane ever again. So just make sure we're not talking about the ethereal plane.
Okay, you ready for my life?
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, my column in Flipping and Turning is parenthetical evil. The nightmare is neutral. Yes. The nightmare can go ethereal at will. And Rob says, where's your adventure? Where's your column? Because he knew I was writing it. Because I'm like, he thought I was an idiot. I'm like, what are the lower planes? He actually, you know what he says to me? Is that a serious question? So I'm like, okay, that wasn't insulting. Yes, that's a serious. Because look, the lower planes are not referenced in. They're referenced in the DMG. They talk about lower planes, but if you look at the discussion of the planes,
right,
it doesn't talk about lower planes. It talks about the outer planes.
Right. And you can infer that, but it's not defined except in the DMG when it says you can create, which we're going to do. Spoiler.
Right. That's how I got there. So
go ahead, keep going.
I get that. So the nightmare, I'm writing this thing. The nightmare can go ethereal. So now, of course, I've got to pause. I got to then actually study up again on the ethereal plane. What does it mean? Why are you there? What are you doing there? Where are you going? Why? That's all. Okay.
So I also want to mention because trolls are low intelligence, but apparently they're cunning, because look what the troll on page 102 in the DMG is doing. So before we get back to regeneration.
No, I'm glad you brought this up. It's a very famous picture.
That's
drawing.
A famous drawing, and there's another one in the DMG.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, is there the same one?
No, there is not this. You're right. It's in the player's handbook. It's 102.
Okay. Because I want to. Well, let's give attribution if we can. Oh, I don't see who did that. Okay. Yes, but the very interesting thing. No, but here's the question. There's controversy. Who is tricking whom? I've actually seen discussion on the internet about this picture, this drawing, and I agree with you, because this would be a very clever troll. This doesn't sound like a low intelligence move by the troll. This is for those listening. This is the picture, the drawing of the troll who has some rope string. Yeah, it's more like string. It's like on a kite string almost. He's got it on a little handle that you roll it up on, and he's laid it, and you've got this adventurer who is at the other end, but he seems to be holding it. Isn't he holding a handle too of some kind? What is he holding?
He is. They're both holding a handle on either side.
Why are there 2 handles?
Well,
are they?
I guess
maybe they're both
go ahead.
doing it. Maybe they're both. Maybe somebody dropped it.
Maybe the other guy who's dead on the other side.
And they both come upon it, and they're both gonna. It's like eating what is like what was the Lady and the Tramp? We're
right,
eating
the spaghetti at the time. Now there is a symbol, by the way. I can't tell who it is. It's right at the corner, at the upper, where the wall goes to the right towards the human adventurer. It's in the upper. It's in the middle, just to the left.
Yeah, I see that.
I just can't tell whose symbol that is.
It almost looks like a little ribbon.
Yeah.
It looks now like some of those. Yeah. Okay, so maybe someone at the chat.
Someone in the chat could let us know who did this. So there you go.
I like the guy on page 101. These guys in a bar, which is a great drawing, right? They're on one page. I like the guy who's smoking there. That dude is basically like, yeah, I am so dead this adventure. Doesn't he have that look? This is it for me. He just knows. That guy does not live, right?
You know he's a dead person.
He's like, I cannot believe we're going into the drawing. Yeah, okay. Okay, so
back to regeneration.
All right, regeneration. Now, I'll do the description and then we'll talk. The description: troll hide is a nauseating moss green, mottled green and gray, or putrid gray. The writhing hair-like growth upon a troll's head is greenish black or iron gray. The eyes of a troll are dull black. Oh, and we've got a DCS. Who is that? That's David Sutherland.
Yeah, Sutherland.
Okay, so David Sutherland drew the picture of the troll. So regeneration. I mean, you need it. Don't you need all the parts to come? Oh no, I was on number one. Number one, when you engage in combat in first edition, they're not location hits. You don't usually have severing unless you're using something like good hits and bad misses. So,
or you have a vorpal weapon, sort of sharpness, something like that.
Oh, okay, good point. So number one, you'd have to be. How would you know if there's, unless you had something like one of those weapons? How would you know if there's been severing? How would you run that as a DM, James?
So what people have done, there's the two types: the people who've never played D&D and gotten the troll, and the people who have played it. So once they realize there's a troll, they all scramble to get fire and oil flasks to try to burn the thing. So the strategy is, the DM concession is, when the troll gets knocked down to 0 hit points, the troll falls down. That's the thing. That's how most people that I've seen run it. So even though they're not dead, they don't keep fighting at that point. So what happens typically is they beat the troll down, and then they start chopping it up while they're preparing the oil, and they spread the oil around, then when they set it on fire. That's typically what the players try to accomplish.
So if a troll reaches 0 hit points, how do you play that? What is happening at that point? Because generally that's death. But here it says to kill a troll, it must be burn, immerse, and acid. So are you continuing to do regeneration even though it's at 0? Okay.
Right.
So no matter. So even if it's so let's say that I batter it, and I don't know how you deal with negative hit points, but assuming you're playing with negative hit points and I can batter it to negative 100, it's going to. So if I just keep stabbing the troll,
right,
it's going to keep, even if I stab it to negative 100.
Yeah, negative 1,000. If you don't burn it and you leave, at some point when you come back, it'll be back. That's the whole idea of if you have a chunk left, if somehow you missed burning the whole thing, it will come back.
And is regeneration, so regeneration is also healing internal wounds and things like that. So if I stick you through, I assume that a troll has a heart, so to speak.
Yeah, it doesn't really say, but yeah, absolutely.
So it's inside. It's just okay.
And if you go, the other thing is, if you go to the ring of regeneration, you cannot die if you have a ring of regeneration on, as it's read. Even if the regeneration is slower than the damage you take, you cannot be killed unless. So again, I use other texts because it's not clear how the mechanic works. All it says is you can't kill it unless you burn it in acid. the rest of the combat rules are, right, if he goes to 0, you get knocked down. -10 is dead, except you have this rule that says he cannot die. It cannot die unless you have, unless you immerse it in acid or burn it.
Yeah, and you could possibly inflict so many hit points in a single round that a person is at. I mean, we've all been at like -40, right? When we walk. Right? So you could be at -40, and I didn't mention this when I was reading this, but regenerate is italicized when it says will begin to regenerate. Usually that's referring to a spell, but I wondered about why it was italicized, because it does make it sound like it is sort of bringing in a definition of something somewhere, which is why I was interested in your point about the ring of regeneration.
So the ring of regeneration says there's 2 forms of this ring. I'm just going over the standard one. It regenerates 1 hit point of damage per turn. It brings the wearer back from death, but if poison is the cause, saving throw must be made, or else the wearer dies again from the poison still in his system. Only total destruction of all living tissue by fire or acid or similar methods will prevent regeneration.
So I agree with you. I think that's very clever to make use of that information. No matter how many negative hit points, you're slowly coming back. But okay, here's the other thing.
So that's what I've seen how the players do it. They just hack it up so it's not a threat to them. Now some DMs will say the arms will still attack, and if the head is still there, if you get near it, it'll you get this like weird Evil Dead kind of thing where it's chomping at you and trying to bite at you. But
because it actually says the loathsome members of a troll have the ability to fight on even if severed from the body. A hand can claw or strangle, the head bite, etc. So I think what I would do is I would say if the hands are 5 to 8, I would say each hand can attack with its claw at 5 to 8. Now the problem, of course, is its movement
right.
isn't great. I mean, and also its movement is I assume its movement is toward the rest of the body, right? I mean, so in other words, it's on a mission.
Yeah.
You'd have to mess with the hand. You grab it, and it's going to claw. I would think that if you grab the claw, you'd have to grab it, wouldn't you? I mean, the claw's not going to fling itself at you.
Yeah, it's not self-motive, unless it crawls across the ground, right? It's going to move very slow.
And it's moving very slow, and it's slither and scuttle together, rejoin, and I assume it's heading toward the other parts.
Right. It's trying to reunify with whatever it's left, right?
So I guess you'd have to kind of forget, if you'd never played D&D before, met a troll, which of course was a lot of the fun of playing it for the first time. I guess if you don't pay attention, then it's slowly coming together, or maybe you got this claw that. So if I grab the claw, it'll do 1 attack, I guess. That the head can bite me. But here's the thing: is let's say I've burned everything but a hand. How does that turn into, what does that hand do? I mean, there's nothing. I mean, so because you had mentioned you forget one of the parts,
right?
What can it? I mean, can it regenerate into an entire troll again, or does it need the other parts?
It just needs. It says there, as long as there's flesh, it will reconstitute an entire creature again in 3 to 12 rounds or something like that. 5 to 12 rounds, it says.
And to kill a troll, the monster must be burned or immersed in acid, any separate pieces being treated in the same fashion, and they create a whole again. So that's what confuses me, and I agree with you on your reading of that. So that suggests that, well, wait a sec. Okay, any separate pieces. So here's the clause. This is the fun part of the show.
Yeah, parsing of the words.
Right. So this is the great thing about AD&D. After you flip and turn for 20 minutes, you then have to parse.
That's right. Study the text.
Okay. Any separate pieces being treated in the same fashion. So to kill a troll, the monster must be burned or immersed in acid. Any separate pieces being treated in the same fashion, meaning, can we agree that they must be burned or whatever, put in acid, or they create a whole again. Right. So you're reading that to mean that the hand will slowly start.
Yes, it has the genetic material and this ability to reconstitute itself.
Wow. So I guess it sounds like there's 2 ways for a troll that has been dismembered to return to being that regular troll. One, through the pieces reattaching, and two, through a severed piece itself regenerating the new parts. You agree, right? So,
Yes.
and I guess what's the benefit? There's got to be a benefit to reconstituting yourself with parts you've already had. It must be. Would you agree that if you've got severed parts, those will get together
Yes.
quicker?
It's like the Terminator, right? With T2, when the liquid guy, right? They blow him up and he just starts coming back together.
Which ones? So is it quicker? So what's the 3 to 18 melee rounds? Is it when you've got severed pieces, or is the 3 to 18 for severed pieces and for a single piece? So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You think it doesn't matter?
Right.
So I'm just kind of so it is what it is. So okay. So you got 3 to 18. Well, okay. So I'm a severed hand, right?
Yes.
Severed troll hand. Another. Are you gonna say band name?
That's right. Severed hand.
Severed hand.
I thought it was a tribe name. Isn't one of the orcs or the hobgoblin the severed hands?
Severed hand, right? It should be. I think the severed heads. I don't know. So I'm a severed hand. Okay. How do I decide? When do I start growing the rest of a body from my? When do I start growing the arm? Do I first figure out? Number one, how do I know? Am I intelligent? Do I start? I just sense it. So
right.
do I first try to look for the rest of me?
I think, again, the fact that we're talking about this is insanity. But I assume it's like, again, I'll go back to the Terminator. It's like a major reset, system failure, we've been hacked up, reboot, and then every part that's around starts going, okay, what's left?
Right.
And
they're surveying the damage.
Yeah, and then it's like, launch, program, reconstitute.
So what I could do is, so you think there could be a market for severed troll parts?
Absolutely.
You just buy it. It's in a little jar.
Well, but if it's there, it's gonna grow. I mean, that's the problem. You have to prevent it from growing. So
you're right.
Actually, this basilic thing would be very interesting. If you turn the troll to stone, break it up into pieces. Exactly. And
then sell it on the market. So you go to the market, and there's a little, and you want to break it up as much as possible,
right?
So you got little. Oh, you might be getting so. Are you ripping me off? Because I bought a stone troll.
Is this pure troll? Exact. This
right, and that's right. And so then you turn it, and So you could we could create a troll army.
Well, but then that's the question. If there's a second piece, will it create? Because unlike a pudding, which if you split in half, you get two puddings. They're smaller, but you get two puddings. Here it says if you hack it up, you get one troll still. So do you get a second troll? Is there a distance thing where the sentient nature of these pieces, do they go up? I must be the only piece left. I'm going to create a troll now.
Oh, you think? Oh, I see what you're saying. You think there's a limit. So in other words, well, let's say, so you think that all the severed pieces can only return to one single troll.
That they would, self-triangulate throughout. If let's say they were spread throughout the land, if they all became unthing, they would figure out. They would wake up and go, oh, there's the heads over here and the arms over there. We're gonna meet here. They're gonna move towards each other to reconstitute.
So you think I only get, so at what point in time can I give up the quest and be like, I want to regenerate, please troll, I want to regenerate on my own. I want to be my own troll. Well, I can't be that dude.
Well, and that is an interesting thing. At some point, is it the largest piece that sends a beacon out saying, the rest of you die, I'm going to take this over? These are great questions. This is you're actually building a multi-user network that is intelligent, or a very resilient network that goes, okay, I don't want you to replicate. We can't have more than one troll, and it has to be built within 3 to 18 rounds. So, because it says there the troll will reconstitute in 3 to 18 rounds. So let's use this example. You've broken up the troll. You've spread the pieces everywhere, and then you turn back to flesh. What would happen? I don't know. And if you brought that up in a game, I would kill your character.
It would be fun, though. I'm seeing another adventure idea, which is that this troll has been hacked up.
Yes.
and the pieces are everywhere, and you've got to go find each of the pieces. So for whatever reason, you want this troll to be. He's got information,
Right.
right? He knows where the dragon's treasure is, and you've got to find each of the pieces like Horcruxes. You've got to find each of the pieces of the troll to make the troll again.
Yes. If assuming that if the troll pieces are smart enough to realize that their pieces still exist, and they don't go into the default mode of I'm the only piece left, I'm going to reconstitute by myself. I'm going to sprout the rest of my body.
Right.
There's got to be some kind of thing that says, my pieces are out there. I can't just make my own body again. I got to be brought back together.
You know who would know the answer to this? Ed Greenwood.
Yes, we could ask Ed. Oh yeah, I'm sure Ed's thought of it.
Ed would be like, "This is the way it happens."
That's right.
Okay, well that's all right. So I'm glad that this has been very useful for me because I've always been a little bit scared of running a troll as a DM because of these sorts of issues, and I'm glad to know that it's not as clear, and I wasn't just unlike the lower planes. It wasn't something like I was just missing that I should.
So what I've seen is mechanically, unless again you can be the biggest DM jerk everywhere and make it. This is why trolls are super big bad. Like I said, you could have the arm attacking in the head, and they try to try to grab it and it bites them. You can go.
Right, now it's 9 trolls.
Right. Typically,
puddings.
They beat the troll down. They hack it up because it's now at 0 hit points. So eventually they're going to chop it up. They keep beating on it while they douse it in oil. And I say, of course they want to just use 1 flask of oil, which is now troll. The other kind of assumption is that, trolls light up pretty good. They're like, very flammable. So
if you market that, like we sell it like
napalm.
Oil.
Yeah. Troll oil.
This is the best oil for this will burn a troll in minutes. But if you flung some DNA, melee is messy.
Right.
DNA is everywhere, as you know.
That's right, spreading your stuff everywhere. So then they cover it, they douse it in, I say, usually 2 flasks of oil, they set it on fire, and they move on.
You better. No, you need the professionals to come in, because I'm telling you, there's a fingernail over there that you didn't see.
The black light, they got to black light it.
Yeah. That's right. Don't bring a black light. Never bring
to a hotel.
A black light to a hotel. Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to. There's some things you just don't want to know.
Well,
okay.
I've gotten to the point, like for GROGTALK, I'll be bringing my own bedding. I'm not.
Well, that's gonna help. That's gonna help increase the attendance.
That's right. Well, it's not because of GROGTALK. It's just because of the hotels in general. I'm just so skeeved out by. I can't. I'm sure my house is disgusting too, but it's my disgusting. It's not someone else's disgusting. So
that's right.
And why do they have that little thing that goes across the bed? That's just a fluid catcher. That's all it does.
You know that one time that I had to stay over your house? James, I've got a confession to make.
When we have guests over, we wash all the sheets, everything. We hose it down.
It's like a troll's been there. So you treat your guests like they're going to patrol.
That's right. We feel like a gnome's been there. Based on the book I gave you, it's probably smart. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Are we ready for combat?
I feel like someone's ready for combat. So
we have to do all this stuff now, though.
Huh?
We have to effectuate all this discussion because we're now having combat with the troll.
Well, but
I hope it gets turned to stone. This is perfect. It's turned to stone.
That's right.
We're going to break it up.
That's why I brought it up, because we have the basilisk. All right.
Okay. So what am I? Am I the new one?
Yes, you're the troll.
Okay.
I'm the basilisk.
So, I can't believe. Wait. Okay, I'll be back. I got to find a D6. I'll be right back.
Well, while this dead space is going on, let's see what's in the chat. Yeah. Yes, you should throw a die at me for $1. That's a nice way to charities. Let's see what else we got. I always figure the name.
Okay. I got a D6. So we're rolling for surprise, then distance, or distance, then surprise?
Well, we have to roll surprise, then distance.
Okay.
So first roll surprise.
I have a 1.
I have a 1 as well. So what? Okay. So they're both surprised.
Right. So that cancels each other out.
Well, but since we're surprised, distance should be shorter.
Okay.
That's what I go with. We're 10 feet. Somehow we're 10 yards away.
Wow. So maybe you know what? We're in the crippled unicorn.
That is a terrible place.
So a basilisk and a troll walk into the crippled unicorn.
Hey.
We have no punchline.
That's right.
That's it. That's the extent of the joke so far. We're still working on
That's
it.
right. Basket control walk in.
And the basilisk says, "Hey, want to get stoned?"
That's right. I'll be here all week.
All right. Okay.
All right, very good. So now it's initiative. What's your declared action?
Claw, bite.
Okay. Well, first I got to figure out. So you're not averting your gaze. So you got.
Am I roasting mutton?
Oh, did I send you that video of the 5 reasons or 5 explanations of Tom Bombadil on YouTube? Did you see that?
No.
I'll have to send it to you. I didn't watch the whole thing because I didn't care, but it looked
It looked interesting.
Well, like whether he's a Valor or a Pel, whatever. I don't know these things. I don't pay attention. You know, I don't care. But I know you care. Okay, so, you were surprised, correct? So what we're doing is we're looking at the gaze attack rules from the Draculus.
Oh, you're right. This is bad.
Page 55.
This is Draculus? Yeah. Thank you. Yes, this is right. This is actually bad for me.
That's right.
That we're both surprised. It doesn't really cancel out. It does sort of, but not really. Okay. Wait, what's the difference between... We probably talked about this last. That's right, and I agree with you. You think completely surprised is 2 segments or more.
Right. Yeah. If you're just surprised, that's just what the minimum surprised.
Don't like giant frogs surprise you like 1 in 4 or something. Okay, that's horrible. 4. Okay, you're gonna be eaten. Okay. Yes. So I am just surprised. So I have a 7 in 10. Oh wait, we got to do size issues here, right? I'm large. So does that affect anything?
The chance of meeting a gaze of Draculus or any large creature using a gaze weapon are as follows. If the creature is man-sized, such as Medusa, it's 1. I think.
You are.
Yeah, but I'm medium. So. Oh. But it says man-size, so I'm going to add 1. Sorry,
I think that's right because I think I don't know why it says man-sized, but I think that means medium, don't you think?
Yeah, that's right. But it says if it's man-sized, such as a Medusa, but he's 7 feet long, so he's not that long. He's not a big.
Right, so it goes 0. +1.
Right, +2.
+2 based on size.
Yeah, the cockatrice, if it was a gaze weapon, would be +2, but it's not. It's a touch thing.
Right. Okay. So it is plus. So that means there's an 8 in 10 chance
that you will have to make a saving throw.
Okay. So who is?
You can roll. You can roll it. I trust you. Okay. It's not divine intervention, so.
That's right. We need to get that kitten back.
Well, I know divine intervention is going to happen. Why is divine intervention going to happen? Who's the god of the trolls?
Oh, Vaprak. Oh, Vaprak will save me. Hang on, wait a second. I need to pray first.
You're not going to be saved, but you'll. I know this. I know it's going to be a 0-1. It's going to be 0-0, whatever it is.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, I can't wait to pray to Vaprak. This is very exciting. Okay, so I'm rolling. Let's see. I rolled a 5.
All right, so you have to make your saving throw.
Oh no! I want to know what I need beforehand. So I am a troll, so that's a 6. So the +6.
+6 helps.
Does this help me?
I feel like it does, but I have to check. So we're flipping and turning. I know.
And tell me the page if you get there before me.
It's 79.
Okay.
So, and
on the fight. Right?
Well, this is interesting because I read this again because this is what's great. So I'm at the bottom of 79. Number 2, saving throws matrix for monsters. All monsters use the matrix for characters. That's clear. Hit dice equals experience level with additional pluses and hit point, moving the creature upwards by 1 hit dice. Further die levels are added for each increment of 4 points. Therefore, for the purposes of saving throws, 1 + 1 through 1 + 4 is 2, 1 + 5 to 1 + 8 is 3, etc., etc. So you have 6 + 6, correct?
Yes.
So you would be 8th level based on what I just read.
Yeah, further die levels are added for each increment of 4 additional points.
Oh,
well,
you'd have to go up to 8. You have to go to 2. You'd have to be 6 + 8.
Right. You know, you never hit die then.
Yeah,
so it's like a halving thing.
Right. So you got 7. So you'd be treated as a 7th level creatures. Now read C.
Most monsters save as fighters except 1. Those with abilities of other character classes gain the benefit of the more favorable saving throw. I got it.
Yep.
2. Those with no real offensive fighting capability save according to their area of ability. So do I have a... I don't have...
No, it's just what I found interesting is that if you're not a fighter, I always use monsters as fighters, but there are exceptions when you would not use that.
That's right.
So if you don't have a fighting ability, you would not you'd have to then determine what kind of class it is and then figure out the saving throw for that.
Yeah, so I guess if you could use spells, then it would be probably like it'd probably gonna be magic user spells. So you would be on a so if I spell, I could be like a dragon would save. It's the higher one, but if the magic users tend to be high, and I've complained about this before, magic users tend to be higher against spells, right? Say than fighters, but they progress slowly for everything. Well, I say should progress faster for spells, but whatever. Yeah, and those are no real offensive fighting abilities.
And
according to some may not have any area of ability.
Right. So we're going to have to go with fighter. And then D is interesting too, which I always forget to do. Non-intelligent creatures save an experience level equal to 1/2 their hit dice, rounded upwards. So a lot of times you get these puddings and stuff, they're 10 hit dice. They really should save as 5th level unless it's for poison or death magic, if they're non-intelligent. I don't know if puddings are non-intelligent. No, I'm sorry if I insulted the puddings out there. All praises to Jubilix.
Yeah, that was quick save, my friend. I was just about to have Jubilix come down on you. I'm sorry, Jublex.
Jubilix.
I always say Jubilex.
Well,
Jubilix. You don't want to mispronounce that.
No.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I am a fighter. I'm a level 7 fighter, which is good.
We're going to go with level 7 fighter, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It really is moot because it's 7 to 8, but I do get up to the next higher one.
So you get 11. So it's 11.
11. I see their petrification primer. All right, here we go. 2.
Ta-dun! No. Divine intervention. Go ahead.
I've been stoned.
You've been stoned.
Okay. So I never saw it coming.
That's right. You just.
I'm surprised. I'm sitting in the right. I mean, because who would have thunk it? So I'm sitting in the. What was it? The
broken unicorn. The broken unicorn. The hapless unicorn. The crippled unicorn.
Crippled unicorn. And I look up and somebody's talking to me next time. I just turn to my left, like, hey, baby. And there's a basilisk. Who would have thunk it? Okay, here we go. I'm rolling.
Well, everyone else is all stoned. This part of the you know what we need on here when we do this? We need Bob. Bob, the king of the puns, our friend.
We do.
He would have He would have been. All right. Where's the cat rolling?
I know you're right. I know you want this because you don't believe me.
I want 0.
Now it's 67.
I'm sorry. I tried. I reminded you of it. See the fact I have all praises to Vaprak. See.
Jublex is like, I'm not saying that troll's pathetic.
Yeah, Jublex doesn't care. Vaprak, we thought, would have been. Yes, and so now there's this beautiful troll statue in front of the. That looks so realistic. That's a.
Oh my gosh! Yes, he keeps in the corner of the crippled unicorn. Yes, you know what? That would be a great adornment, wouldn't it? I mean, who would have thought to do that? You go into the crippled unicorn, whatever you want to bar, and there's that's a great story, right? There's a troll, and people are chipping away at it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's not good. So and then the wizard in the marketplace, of course, can be a jerk, and just stone to flesh, bloop, and then walk away.
Exactly
and
right.
And there's a troll in there. All right, so it has prevailed. Trolls.
It's gonna need, and it had a name, Basil Rathbone.
That's right. Defeated. Troll defeated. Okay. Now we're on to our next exciting, somewhat new thing called Miscellaneous Magic, right? We're going to do that next.
Correct. So this is where we, see how good I'm being? This is where we roll on the Dungeon Master's Guide Miscellaneous Magic chart, and then whatever item is rolled.
I think we decide we're just going to roll magic items, and then if it's something boring, we're going to exclude it. So
we talk about it. Okay, yeah, because we don't want to talk about a sword plus one, do we?
No.
Good. Light radius. They got to sheath it on off. We've been there. Okay. So, sir, I've done a lot of rolling.
I will roll.
Yeah, go for it. So you're rolling. So you on page 121.
Thank you.
Number 3 magic items.
Yes. So 121. This is actually we should name the thing. I was just thinking. I don't know what you think about it. I just thought of it. It may not be a good example. What is? I'm going to the treasure types. Mm-hmm. We are doing treasure type A or Z. We could call it because maps or magic. It says any magic 50%. So we could just call this segment Treasure Type Z.
Let's do it. You know, at one point in time, we had talked about, and I think we did it maybe once, where you do the treasure type of the monster that's been defeated, and I think we came up with like a dagger plus
Yeah,
one.
it was very anticlimactic.
Yes. Okay. So sure, you know, we'll see how it sticks. We'll give it a whirl. I mean, it's just like our convention name. Who knows? It's all.
Vic is proclaiming blasphemy on the chat. He wants us to use the book that shall not be names magic thing. I said no. 17 potion.
Oh, let's do it. I'm ready to drink. Yeah, I didn't get in trouble last time. I was drinking. What did I drink? And I was supposed to. So it was like a saddle.
Well, it was oil of etherealness.
Don't drink it.
Which caused the ethereal thing. That's yes. Yeah. All right. So today we are talking about a potion of animal control.
Oh, and it has an asterisk. Look, James, it has an asterisk.
Yeah. What's the asterisk for?
It says effectiveness on type of creature controlled must be determined by die roll. Consult item explanation. Oh, so in other words, I got to flip and turn. Is that what it's saying?
Yep, you got to flip and turn. I got to write this down so we don't. This is potion. All right. So why don't you read it to the folks what we're doing?
So absolutely. So the potion of animal control, which you will find on page 125 of the DMG, this potion enables the imbiber to empathize with and control the emotions of animals of one type, i.e. cats, dogs, horses, etc. The number of animals so controlled depends upon size. 5 to 20 animals of the size of giant rats. Oh, I'm already this is my kind of I'm loving this potion.
Yeah, I know.
I'm always learning. This is awesome. This show is just filled with stuff. I'm telling you, this is one of the best. This is just everything that we've done so far. We just need to dump into our tournament adventure for the summer. Okay, so people be aware. 3 to 12 animals of about man-sized, or 1 to 4 animals of about 1/2 ton or more in weight. Can I do it on a dragon? James, can I use an animal control on a dragon?
Because there's a potion called Dragon Control.
Boo. The sort of animal. Oh, here it is. The sort of. I need to keep reading. The sort of animal which can be controlled depends upon the particular potion as indicated by die roll. Mammal / marsupial or avian, reptile / amphibian, fish, mammal / marsupial / avian, reptile. You're not going to give me reptile? Reptile / amphibian / fish, or all of the above. Okay, give me a roll, James. Let's see what we can control. A D20, please.
4. Mammal, marsupial.
Okay. Animals with intelligence of 5, low intelligence, or better are entitled to a saving throw versus magic. Boo. Control is limited to emotions or drives unless some form of communication is possible. Note that many monsters cannot be controlled by the use of this potion, nor can humans, demi-humans, or humanoids. Well, they say note that many monsters cannot. Well, they don't tell me which ones.
In other words, this is for animals.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, for instance, in the game I play in on Wednesday, we met these giant snakes. Well, giant snakes are monsters. They're animals, but they're monsters. I can't. The monk that we have, Mosus's character, but Jesse's playing, great guy. He can speak with animals. He shouldn't be able to speak with a giant constrictor snake. He can speak with snakes, but because the snake's an animal, the giant snake is an animal, but he's a monster. That's my take on it.
Okay, but okay. So what I like, so how do I, so I buy, I don't have, so don't rub this on me.
No, don't.
So I shouldn't rub the potion on me?
Rubs the lotion on it. That's right. And you attract mammals. It's like a musk. That's what.
It's like beard oil. I'm putting it in my beard. All these giant rats are. I'm like waking out there nibbling. I'm waking up with giant rats.
Monkey oil. Monkey love oil. You got some monkey love oil. Oh, it's great.
That's the Valentine's show. We're going to join us for the Valentine's show. We'll be rubbing animal control oil. Yeah, that would be fun. What you do is you go in and you change all the labels on some poor dudes. That's what thieves, I would change all the label on some poor dude's potions, It's the ethereal, it's really the animal control. Okay, so what's very cool about this is that I can do so many of them. So I can control a bunch of rats, right?
Right.
They're mammals. If I was doing that, you can control fish. So I can control, but wait a
Or
second.
monkeys, 3 to 12 monkeys.
Wait a second. Or monkeys.
Or
I can
gorillas.
Oh, this would be very cool to give to somebody for the halls of Tiz and Thane.
Right.
Where they have those from the Fiendful. I can't remember what they are. They're monkey-like creatures. But wait a second. This says I can empathize with them. Okay, empathize? Really? Doesn't empathize mean like I feel for them?
Right.
Empathy is to.
I always get confused between empathy and sympathy.
Yeah, what is the difference? Yes, I think yes.
Maybe it's in the glossary.
Empathize? No. I don't think so. You better go to Marion's for that.
No.
What's empathy? But whatever it is, it's not doing much.
Well, but it says to empathize and control the emotions.
Oh, I know, but I'm just doing on empathize. So let's just break it down. What do I care about empathy? Well, I'm having empathy for the giant rat. Like oh my god. So for the rest of my life,
I think you can understand the emotions that it's feeling. So if it's scared, then you can change it to fear, or you can make it. You understand the emotions that it has.
Okay. All right. So that's helpful. Should I look it up? Is that too risky? Just Google empathy.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right. And I would do it, but we might lose me, which might be a good thing. And control the emotions. So okay. So what you're saying is I need to know what they're feeling, and then I get to switch it.
Right. Unless you can talk to them. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So you know what they're feeling, and then you can manipulate that.
Yeah, because right, you saw like the carbuncle. So control is limited to emotions or drives, unless some. Okay, so multiple. Okay, so if I can't talk to them, all I'm doing now is I can make them scared, so they'll flee.
Right.
Right. So, it's not doing a ton for me. I'm not really. I'm just controlling their emotions. Now, if I can speak to them.
Right.
What can I do? Because it doesn't actually say that. It just says that control is limited to emotions unless some form of communication is possible. Is that suggesting that I can actually?
Yes. You can manipulate them at that point.
I can make them do what I jump
Correct.
off that?
Right. Well, you can say attack that guy, guard me, protect me, that kind of thing.
What would you treat it as? What's the equivalent?
Like a charm. Charm.
Okay, you treat it as the equivalent of a charm.
Yeah.
Okay, because charm, like people won't kill themselves unless, right?
No. Well, I'd look at, I think like a human control, it's like you have 18 charisma, if I remember correctly. Let me look at human control. Oh no, that's human influence. So human control says allows to control humans, humanoids, blah, blah, blah. So basically what this means is you were not good enough to make a human control, a dragon control potion. You made this is like the starter control potion. This is like level 1 control.
It's like woodshop class or whatever in high school or whatever. You're just starting to whittle.
This is the first in Control 101 thing. Because dragon control acts as charm monster spell.
Yeah, and this doesn't. Yeah, and the bad thing about this one is 5 or more, you get a saving throw. That kind of stinks because, usually with potions, they sort of work, right? I mean, this one sort of stinks. I mean, so.
Yeah, and only 5% of these are going to be useful because everyone else is so specialized. I have a potion of animal control, mammals and marsupials. Marsupials?
Right. Or fish.
Well,
and you're like in the desert.
Right. That's pretty useless.
Can I use this on a nightmare?
No. Well,
you're saying that? Why not?
It doesn't have equestrian, but we don't even know if a nightmare is a mammal. That needs to be part of your thing.
Okay. I'll try to remember to address that. So, okay. So note that many monsters cannot be compare ring of mammal control.
Right. So
I need to compare ring of mammal. Oh, you need to compare ring of mammal control then. I'm liking this for smaller stuff. Do I got to be able to see the things? I guess I got to be there. Like, what's the range of this thing? Does it have a range?
No, that is a very good point. It doesn't give you a range specifically. So now we need to look at the beginning of page 125 First of all, this lasts for 1 to 4 turns. 4 turns plus additional 1 to 4. Some potions can be halved.
So this is right. You're reading under the standard one
Right.
now, which is this in general. Right. So 4. So what is that? 5 to 8.
Yeah.
So 5 to 8 turns, and a turn is
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So 40 minutes plus 10 to 40 minutes more.
So 50 to 80 minutes.
Right.
So 50 minutes to 80 minutes. So that's pretty good. And you can, and people always ask this, and it actually says it. You can quaff half a potion. Will last only half as long in some cases, and it takes effect 2 to 5 segments later. So, and
some potions say it has to be taken the whole thing. If a half is, it says where is that? Blah blah blah. Some say you have to take the whole thing. I forgot where it is, but
I can do half of this apparently.
Yeah, apparently you can.
Unfortunately, I can. It's only of one type, though.
Yes.
So I can do cats, dogs. So I can't do. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess this would be a good one for a gnome because they can
Right.
speak with burrowing mammals, and then they control. It doesn't seem very friendly. I mean, there's always that conflict that you're friends with the burrowing mammals and then you're controlling it. That doesn't sound very nice.
Well, that's issue 2.
All right.
That's one of the reasons why we got rid of it. It was forcible coercion.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, this is pretty. I like this. This is pretty interesting. I think this could be well placed in a one-off. You know, if you've got some animals there that.
Yeah, or you run into goats or giant goats. Again, there's discussion in the chat. What's the line between a monster and an animal? And again, the DM can rule it different places. It's kind of the smell test. I would say a goat. Like for instance, there is a ram in the player's handbook. It just says ram, right? If I remember, not player's handbook, monster manual. It has giant ram.
No, the rams. That stuff comes in like Monster Manual 2, right? Just rat.
Right, exactly, rat.
Chicken.
So you have to decide: is a giant because it says giant sheep as opposed to just sheep. So if you want to say that they're the same, they're just bigger, okay, I guess you could do that. Then that makes it more interesting. Or is it really only work on owls, not giant owls, or otters, not giant otters?
Well, in the Ring of Mammal Control is interesting. I get control extends to such limits as to enable the wearer to have the creatures controlled actually kill themselves.
There you go.
So that's even better than a charm, because doesn't charm say you won't do things that
right.
are totally?
Yes, that's why it has that little weird whatever that double cross is there, because it's very rare. These things should be, because they break your game.
Oh, look, and this is interesting. If you're in doubt about any monster, it is, and Gary put in capital, not a mammal. Obviously, rats, weasels, herd animals, dolphins, and even unicorns are mammals.
What about nightmares?
Well, a nightmare. It says horse. It says horse. It actually gives horse as an example on the potion.
Sure, but nightmares are from a lower planes. I don't know how they breed. If that's how you breed them, yeah.
No one knows. I mean, I guess I got to uncover that information from my article. Okay, yeah. So as usual, more questions than answers.
What is the player trying to do with it? If he's trying to control, well, first of all, humans are definitely limited. If he wants to control some giant kangaroos, I'd probably allow it to happen. If he wanted to, control I can't even think of something that would, a monster, a unicorn. Mm-hmm. I would say, no, you can't do a unicorn. That's a monster. It may be a mammal, but it's not going to be, your potion of animal control is not going to work.
Oh, boo. It says that, no, the problem is it says note that many monsters cannot be controlled by use of this. I mean, what does that mean? I'm giving yes on the unicorn. No. It's a horse with a stub coming out of its head.
Horse with a stub.
I mean, it's just a it's a defect. It's like Darwinism. I mean, there was a deformity, and it worked because you could, poke stuff. All right.
I think it's magic has created the unicorn, but okay. So,
Well, then the unicorn's probably making a save anyway.
yeah. Well, he'd have a save. He doesn't know if he'd make it.
See, this is what's happening, James. I'm like, really? You give me a potion of animal control. You stick a unicorn in your adventure, and I want to use this potion, which I'm never going to get to use otherwise, probably. And you're like, no.
Use it on the oxen. That's what it's
What am I
for.
doing with the oxen?
Huh?
To do what?
To stop the caravan from moving forward, and you have the train master, the caravan master pay you because you're the whisperer. Oh,
And they all get out. They're like, "What's the holdup?" You're right. We're a bunch of bandits.
right, exactly,
Right, and we use that, and it to stop the train.
exactly.
It stops the caravan right in that passage. Like, oh, there's a stupid ox out there.
That's
So hold up, and then we just.
yeah. It's not meant for unicorns.
I like the way you think.
That's right. All right. So there you go. Treasure type Z. There we go. I don't know if we'll keep calling it that, but I'm going to write it down. Next, we have a thing that you wanted to do. What is it? What you wanted to do?
Oh yes, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
The creature from the Black Lagoon.
The creature might be the creature from
our new segment, Lords of Chaos. That's what I call it.
Lords of Chaos. I would like to summon a creature from a lower plane. So just remember, warning:
GROGTALK is for mature audience. We may talk about demonology and the occult. People, this show may not be suitable for people under 50. Just letting you know.
None of this is real. So on page 194, I had not. I had been aware, I'd forgotten. On page 194 of the DMG,
yep,
I had come across. I mean, I act like I'm, Columbus or something. I mean, like, hey, everyone. You know what I discovered? Everyone else is like, yeah, we knew about that 40 years ago. Okay, Appendix D, random generation of creatures from the lower planes. Gary tells us. At times, it might be useful to have an unrecognizable creature of evil from the planes of the abyss, Tartarus, Hades, Gehenna, or Hell. It is, and so that's, of course, this is what we know are the lower planes. It is no great matter to sit down and design a fairly interesting one given an hour or so, but time or desire lacking, the following will enable you to create one of several such monsters in but a few minutes. The format is straight from the AD&D Monster Manual for ease of recording and handling the creatures developed. And so it gives you a way to create a creature from the lower planes. And so I thought it'd be fun to see what kind of creature we created. So this is a brand new segment. We're giving it a whirl. This is the pilot episode of, what is it, Lords of Chaos?
I called it Lords of Chaos because we're the lords of bringing creatures from random generation from the lower planes. So there you go.
Yes, I like that title very much. So, okay. So, all right, you ready for this? So here we go. I will let you.
Frequency. You roll. I'll let you know what happens. So roll a d6 since you found your d6.
I rolled a 5.
So it's interesting here on the d6. 1 to 3 is common and uncommon. Rare is 4 to 6. So it's more likely you're going to roll rare. So you rolled a 5, so you get a fair.
Well, that's good.
Right.
I mean, that makes sense.
It's rare.
I assume this is rare in the lower planes, not the prime material plane.
I would say
common.
Well, like some things like lemurs are rare here, but they're very common in the lower planes. If I remember correctly, it's designations.
Well, it would be troubling to have it be common on the prime material plane.
Yeah, I gotta look that. See, this is.
All right, I'll keep doing it while you do that, okay? Because number appearing. Oh, it says circumstances. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna randomly roll. 1, 2, or 3 will be 1.
Right.
4, 5, or 6 will be 2 to 8. This is strange. It's either 1 or 2 to 8.
Yeah. So lemur, I just remind. See, lemur is common, but it's common in hell. It's not common here.
Right.
So this thing is rare in hell or in the lower planes. You're not gonna. This is the unicorn of the of the lower planes.
Wait, we need to hang on. We need to 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. Do we need to roll the plane we're from?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
I think the
What do you wanna
alignment. I think the alignment tells you what plane it's from.
do? No, the alignment says according to plane.
Oh, I think I've
Alignment says you got to go back to plane of origin. How many lower planes are there actually? I think there's more than this actually. It would be anything that has evil as its as one of its regular things.
well. Now you got to go into there's 5. If you look at the bottom, it's the lower 5.
Oh.
Hence the lower plane.
You made them. Yes, that's right. There you go. I think that's right. The lower planes. Yeah, but they're not actually on the bottom. Isn't it actually just like a wheel?
True. Or orientated wise, they would be. But we normally don't think of the heavens as.
What is pandemonium? Is chaotic evil neutrals? Does that mean neutral evil with chaotic tendencies?
Sure.
Yeah, because the abyss is chaotic evil.
Yes.
Okay, so pandemonium isn't going to count. So it's one of those bottom 5. So I'm just going to roll a d6.
Or D10, if you're trying to do the 5 there.
Oh, you're making it hard on me.
D10
okay.
divided by 2, right? There's 5 of them.
Okay, and then you got to figure out round. All right, I'm rolling. And we're going starting from the left. I rolled a 10, so we're all down the right. We're from the abyss. We're still in the abyss.
You can't get out of the abyss.
Ah! Okay, so this thing is from the abyss. So it's chaotic. Well, you know what's interesting about it is you don't have to be evil. You don't have to be evil to be down in the lower planes. The nightmares are parenthetical evil, but whatever.
That's evil. I don't buy you moralistic, you and Rob Ritchie's moralistic.
Tendencies. I'm like evil every now and then. Okay, so we're chaotic evil. We're from this creature is from the abyss.
Mm-hmm. So what do you? Okay, good. Now
Number
next.
Period. Is it actually 1 or 2 to 8? That's the way it works.
1 to 2 to 8. Circumstances must dictate. Well.
Oh,
2
to
8.
2 to 8. What does that mean?
Well, circumstance. Well, it's going to be 1. How's that? Moving on.
It could be 8 of these. Okay. All right. I'm rolling for armor class. Here we go. I rolled a 3.
So -2. -2 armor class.
This is scary. Okay. What do I roll now?
You roll a D8.
Okay. 2.
D6, 8, roll D4. You swimming.
I'm a swimmer?
So it says, I'm going to read the whole thing. D8, 6 to 8 equals roll D4 for move and creature also has swimming and flying ability.
Oh. That's what I rolled? No, I didn't roll that. I rolled a 2. Got it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so, I'm sorry. You rolled a 2. So his movement is 9. I apologize. I see what they did. There's 6 movement classes that you have. 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. If you roll a 6, 7, or 8, oh, that doesn't work either. Yeah. If you roll 6, 7, or 8, you get to see he can do move and fly or some other ability. Do you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying there?
No, I got to read. No,
right.
I'm so sorry.
No, I apologize.
Yes.
So on page 194, it says move. Then it has 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Those are 5 choices. Mm-hmm. Then in parentheses, it says D8, 6 through 8. So you roll those first 5. If you get one of those, that's normal movement. If you roll 6 through 8, then you roll a D4 for move and creature also has swimming and or flying ability. Roll D6, D1 to 2 for swimming, 3 to 6 for flying. And as the rule, these speeds will be greater than the land movement speed. Add 1 to 4, 3 increments, you see random termination. So basically, if you roll 1 to 5 on the first roll, it's just normal movement. If you roll 6 to 8, you give it another ability to move.
I got it. I agree. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that. Okay, so I just have normal movement. I'm not a swimmer.
Right, you're just a normal movement. And what'd you roll, a 4?
Oh yeah, because there's 5 of those, and then the 6 to 8 you jump over. No, didn't I roll?
You rolled a 5.
Oh, wait, what? I rolled a 2, didn't I?
Oh, you rolled a 2. Yeah, so you moved to 9.
Okay, so I'm kind of slow. Got it. All right. Now it's on to hit dice. D4 I see plus 6.
And D4 roll a second 4, and on the 4, the creature has 1 to 4 additional hit points per die.
Oh, okay. So first rolling a D4.
Right.
I'm adding 6, right? I rolled a 1.
So it's 7 hit dice.
And then do I roll a second D4?
Yeah, then roll a second D4.
I got it. I got a 3.
And on a 4, the creature has additional 1 to 3 hit points. He doesn't have additional 1 to 3 hit points.
So how many did I have? I can't remember. Hit dice?
You had 7.
Okay. All right. Percent and layer. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll a percentile.
There you go. I like it.
something strange. 10%. Oh, I'm out and about.
He's out and about, as our Canadian friends would say.
I like to get out. All right. Low value, if any.
Treasure
How
type.
many?
Circumstances.
How many treasure types are there?
There's 26.
I'm just gonna roll. I know it says low. It says low type, doesn't it? I'm just gonna roll a D30.
Sure.
Okay. 14.
That's J is 10, K, J, K, L, M, N. N. That's pretty low. That's like an individual amount.
Oh, really? How bad is it?
I feel like N's low. I
N? Oh, my God. Well, wait, 1 to 6 pieces of platinum?
There you go.
That's terrible. Wow. How am I supposed to ride around on this stick? What is this? No, that's hell, right?
Yeah,
Sticks,
you're in the abyss. Yeah. The river Styx goes through. I think it goes through the first layer of the abyss, if I remember correctly now.
It does. I can't even afford, because Sharon Demon.
Right.
You want some? Try to trick him again,
You gotta
right?
have to be a trickster. You better be smart.
I do. I don't have enough money to take the Sharon Demon ride. Okay. Number of attacks. See appearance table. Oh, great. We're on to appearance.
Yep.
Right?
That's exactly.
So, I got to roll for each. Oh, this is where it gets fun. Okay. Unfortunately, there's a kitten in my. Seriously. There's a kitten in my. This is the problem.
There we
That's
go.
the problem. There's our demon. See, and look, he doesn't even care.
5.
He just walks away. All right, and he's kind of stinky.
Yeah.
And he's in my. It reminds me of you cleaning out.
Clean out your room. Clean out your dice tray.
Oh no! There's cat litter in my dice tray. It literally is.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. No wonder he's cleaning himself. You know why he's cleaning himself, though?
Why don't you just put cat litter in your dice tray? Just leave it in there. So just
A little cat box. Yeah. Little dice in there. Little clumpy dice.
You don't know if you're rolling a dice or poop. It's all the same.
Oh, it's awful. I'm going to have to take a shower after this episode. GROGTALK makes you want to take a shower.
First of all, I won't be like, oh, do you need a dice? Here you go. No, that's okay. I don't need your dice.
At the games. You want to borrow my 10-sided?
Nope.
He's licking the 30-side. Oh, my God. There's, what's on my die?
Oh, there's crap on your dice. Oh. Do you need an intervention over there? Do I need to call animal services? How many cats are there? Do you have cats in the freezer dead?
You're going to have to roll. I can't roll.
Okay.
I can't do it, James. I just can't do it.
5.
All right, I'll
go ahead.
tell you what your head. Oh, it's human-like. Boo. All right.
Let's look at
head adorned here. All right.
3. Ooh.
Horns. 1 to 4 horns.
We have 2 horns. Oh, only 2.
Okay, only 2. All right. Overall visage. I need a D6.
1.
Oh my God! Wait. We know how to pronounce this. It's gibbering.
That's right, or gibbering.
Harold Johnson created the monster.
That's right, he did. He told gibbering.
Gibbering-drooling. This is great. That's right. Okay. Ears.
Oh, ears. Yeah. Hold on. D6. 4.
Human. They're huge though.
No, I think I rolled the D6 first to see how many ears I have.
Wait. It doesn't say that.
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. Human ears. I was at eyes. I apologize.
You have 2 human. Well, maybe you're keen-eared.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so eye color. We're going.
Okay.
1.
Amber.
That's nice.
Like a yellowish. Right? All right.
Yep.
Amber waves of maze. Okay, eyes. Now we gotta see how many eyes.
Yeah, 5. Ooh, I got 3 eyes. Yeah.
You're illegitimate child of Jublix.
What's the gibbering mouther? The gibbering eyes. Yeah.
At night, Jublix and I get gibbering mouther.
3. I have swivel socketed.
Swivel, socketed eyes. 3 swivel,
Look at that.
socketed
That's
eyes.
awesome.
Oh, this is awful over here. Like he just comes and leaves, and it's a disaster. It's a poop show.
You could say that about this show too. Yeah. It's 3. So I have 3 swivel socketed eyes of amber color.
Yeah. Okay. So they just kind of go. They're like that Harry Potter dude's eye.
Yeah.
Right?
They can swivel around. Yeah. They're just in your head.
Oh, that's good. You can kind of like see all sort of play. Yeah.
Right.
I think they're kind of like.
Hopefully, I have them kind of surrounding. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Can't be surprised.
I like this guy. So yeah. So he's only surprised on a 1.
I think so.
Probably?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Nose.
Nose. Oh, it's necessary.
Huge bulbous. Well, that's appropriate.
Okay. Huge. Well, all right. Mouth.
Come on, huge mouth. Yes, 6, huge mouth. Now let's see what's in it.
Gosh. What is it?
No, 4. I rolled a huge mouth, and it's tooth small or ridged.
Oh, it's.
I rolled a 6 first, which makes the size of it, and then I rolled 4.
What is small? What is small or ridged? So you have a huge mouth, and you've got what is ridged teeth? What are ridged teeth?
I don't know, just like a ridge of them. They're not pointed.
So you got like a ton of small. You have a huge mouth
with small little teeth. Yeah.
Little tiny, and 3. All right. This guy. All right. I like it. Body attributes.
All right. What do I got to roll? Oh, we have to roll D6 first. If I'm bipedal or quadrupedal. I'm just bipedal.
Oh, okay.
Bipedal torso. 5.
Pig-like. You're like, wait, but you're bipedal.
Yeah.
You're like an orc.
Yeah, I'm like
and you're kind of got some orc in you too.
Yeah, because you got the nose and the weird. Yeah, that's good.
So, yeah, was it the Jimmy Mouther or was it? So maybe it was more like the Jimmy Mouther and assaulted an orc.
Right.
Right.
In the lower hells. That's great.
So you're pig-like. Do you have a little tail? Okay.
Well, now general characteristics. So D4 it looks like 3. Short.
Short. That's awesome.
Short, pig-like, 3 eyes. This is pretty.
You're like
dice don't lie.
Oh man.
And then the next one, 4. Rubbery. I guess I'm kind of rubbery.
Wait. What did you roll?
General characteristics. Roll twice.
Yeah, that's right. I see. So you're rubbery.
Fat
yeah, because you're
rubbery.
like a pig. All right. That's why you have that low armor class, because things just kind of, you absorb blows. Okay.
Yep.
Tail.
Tail D6. Well, I only get a tail if I roll a 1 to 4.
Okay, I see. Yeah. You kind of have a pig-like.
No, I don't have a tail. That sucks.
All right.
But body odor.
I like how you will have a body odor. It's not a roll. You will have a body odor.
I'm going for number 3. Come on, 3. 3. 3.
That's the odor I've got right now.
Oh, 8. Vomit.
8. Oh, it's just vomit. Oh, so you're like drooling, and is there like vomit coming out of you?
Wow.
You're like continually regurgitating and vomiting. You're a pig.
All right, skin.
Okay.
4. Leathery and leprous. Ooh, that's cool.
We should use this for NPCs.
That's right.
Followers. You're leathery. You're pig-like, leathery, and leprous. Okay.
This is odd. This is great. This is a good idea. Predominant color. Reddish. 9.
So you're reddish, pig-like, leathery, leprous, vomiting. Okay. With 3 horns.
Back, I guess we're next to.
Back, yeah.
3. Normal.
Normal.
So wings, if any. How do I know if they have wings?
So you have good posture. Like after all that,
That's right.
you're like, wait, you have good like, is there anything good about me? You have good posture.
Right.
Wings, if any. Oh yeah. So we need to have a percentage of what do you think should be percentage of wings? Like a 1 in 4 or something?
Yeah, it doesn't say.
So I think we'll wing it.
Okay.
Like that.
I'm going to say if I roll a 1 on a D4, I have wings. I didn't. No wings.
No wings. Okay.
Arms.
Oh, you could have 4, even though you're by 2 or 4. So
2 or 4. I'll just roll 50-50. I have 4 arms.
Okay.
And they are number 3, insect-like.
Oh.
That's cool.
They're thin and. Okay.
And I'm phasing in and out of my, because I fell back. I got to change the autofocus on. Go ahead, keep talk. What else?
Okay,
What's
so
the next
now
one we got?
We're on to hands. You need a D6. 1 to 3, they're all alike. 4 to 6, they're different. And we know you have 4.
All right, hold on.
I can roll for that. I'm really kind of scared.
Yeah.
You're making me go into this.
D6.
Vehicle.
Yeah. Oh no, it's yeah. No. You don't have to do that.
I touched it.
Okay. What are they? What did you get?
No, I didn't roll. I just touched it. You can.
They're different hands.
Great. We have to roll for all of them then.
So
you have to roll. We have 4 of them too. So you have to roll a D6 4 times. I think you have 4 D6.
Yeah, I got it. Here you go.
So they're all different.
5, 5, 2, and 1.
The one is clawed. So it's an insect-like clawed hand. And what was the second?
5,
2?
5, 2, and 1.
2 is human nailed. And 2 are. So I guess the 2 that are tentacled to be they're like across from each other.
Yeah.
2 tentacle fingered. So you're gonna get
at least 5 attacks.
At least 4 for
4,
sure.
Right.
You have 4
right.
of the insect arms and the vomit mouth. Oh, maybe you have like projectile vomit. yeah.
This guy's awesome.
You like this guy? He's gonna be the big bad in our tournament. I think our tournament adventure, we should only use stuff from this episode. It's just this. Is he an animal?
No, he can't be controlled with the potion.
Okay. All right.
Legs and feet, huh?
I feel like isn't there a song? Hands, something.
That's right. Yeah, I know. I have 2 legs. 7, taloned.
They're taloned. Ooh. But you can't fly, which is kind of interesting. So I don't really think you can use those very well, unless you're doing it like a cat, where you're doing that back attack, right? But otherwise, you're really not going to do that because you can't fly.
So what are these asterisks for, do you think?
What?
Duck-like, hawk-like. Where is it? Is there an asterisk? I've seen an asterisk. Where is it?
Oh. Yeah, we can't find the asterisk.
Well, the double asterisks under tail. If I had a barbed or stinger, then I would have optionally poisoned. Where's the 1 asterisk?
Oh, it's bird-like. It's way up at head.
Oh, bird-like. Okay, yeah. So then.
Oh, it could have been duck-like, turkey-like.
Oh, too bad I didn't get bird-like. That's too bad.
Oh, maybe next time. Okay. So now Gary tells us, we probably should have read this, a bit of imaginative creation is helpful in using the tables above. For example, if the creature's body is amoeba-like, you might well decide to give it scores of tiny bubbling sucker mouths all over its entire body. Well, we didn't do any of that. We know. So you should feel at ease, adding to or amending the tables as you desire. Oh, there's where you said there's a reference to it. To arrive at still more diverse and unexpected lower planes creatures. See, compare the dragon number 20, Demonology made. Oh, that classic, Demonology made easy.
That was a great class. I almost missed it in the course catalog, but fortunately, I looked at it and it's pretty good.
I couldn't get in.
Yeah.
I was weightlifting. I wanted to be in that course.
It's a great class, and the article's pretty good too. That
Professor Gregory
Wren, and so he talks about the percentages of conjuring demons and talks about assistance and sacrifices. So there you go.
We gotta find that guy.
Bargains and packs. So
roll for strength.
Ooh, strength.
Come on, big money. Percentile. Come on, big money. It seems like he would be wrong. He has insect arms.
29. He only has 18 strength.
That makes sense because he has insect arms.
Yeah, kind of wimpy.
He's kind of wimpy. All right. Attack table. Well, he's got hands, right? So he doesn't have. He does have horns.
Yep.
1 attack each. So I can. Oh my gosh, we forgot about our horns, James.
Yeah.
We have 2 horns.
We do have 2 horns.
Okay, so we get 1 attack each.
2 horn attacks.
1 to 2 to 2 to 8. Oh, wait. what is that? Are we supposed to be doing like a range of like 1 to 2 and then or 2 to 8? You know what I mean? Like, are we supposed to do 1
So
or 2, then 2 to
let's
8?
read the paragraph after. Let's see if it gives us some help.
Thank you. Damage amount is determined by overall size of the creature, with strength bonuses where applicable, and the size and type of body weaponry. A huge creature with clawed hands would get damage ratings of at least 2 to 8 per hit.
Yeah.
Constriction, yeah. So what are we? So
well, did you ever do size or
Yourself?
intelligence, magic resistance? I don't think you did any of that.
we started no.
Oh, because we did
no.
appearance. We're now on that. So we need to have size before we can do damage.
Got it. Okay, I'm with you. So now we're ready to continue on, like, aren't we?
Yeah, well, because we'll have to come back to this till we figure out size.
Okay. Got it.
Because we just did appearance. No, we
Okay.
did. What did we do? Yeah, number of attacks, appearance table. Damage attacks, the attack table, which is what we're on now. But you need to figure out the size in order to figure that out. So let's do size now.
Go for it. D8.
7. So he's big.
Oh wow!
So I would do
awesome.
2 to 8. I would say.
Okay, let's do. Okay, so 2 to 8 with the horns. So now we're doing the damage. So we have 2 attacks with horns.
Yep.
2 to 8 each. That's awesome.
A mouth of 3 to 12.
You got all those tiny little. Oh wow! So yeah, because there's a lot of teeth there.
Right.
All right. Tail. We don't have a tail. We do have hands. 1 attack each possible if no weapon use. Yeah, we've got 4.
Yes.
Are you going to give us 2 to 12 then?
No,
Or what are you gonna...
maybe on the one hand, but the rest of them I do like 1 to 8 plus your strength bonus. So that would be pretty good.
Okay, so we have 4 attacks with the hands.
Yep. So we got like 7 attacks.
And feet.
Oh, feet
We're
too.
not a flyer or a leaper.
Yeah, I would say no. If he's wailing with your hands, he's just kind of flailing and attacking you with his acidic vomit thing.
And on a D20,
He hugs
can
you.
he like hug you?
Right, and then just vomit right.
Vomits on you. That needs to be a special attack.
The
don't you
pig
think? Like,
mother. He regurgitates right in your face.
Yes, and it's got to be like acid or something, right? Like there's got to be like a save or like what? Like
Right.
instant.
Yeah,
death
your
or something.
face just melts off. Yeah.
That's right. He gives you a big wet kiss. He gives you. Yeah, that's what he does. He just vomits right into right into your mouth. Okay. And he injects this demon vomit into your body, and you got to do a save versus poison or instant death, don't you think?
I agree. So we could probably figure that. Let's figure out what its special attacks are.
Maybe we should there are special attacks. I'm ahead of myself. The dice don't lie. So we are special attacks and special defenses can't be dealt with in as much detail as would be desirable in a work of unlimited length. The tables below will suggest various methods. I think look, the dice don't lie. I think we need to go with what the dice say. Do you agree?
Right. So I'm reading the special attacks to be you have 1 to 3 of them. So we need to roll a d6 and then we can roll which ones we have.
I agree with you.
So we have 2 special attacks.
Let's do it.
This thing is amazing. 8 and 4. Heat generation and summon gate. He can summon more of his friends.
Oh yes. So he can summon gibbering mouthers and orcs. Don't you think? Because isn't he like a orc gibbering mouther kind of hybrid?
Yeah, but usually gate you summon other demons. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, it could be summon. We could summon. Yeah, it wouldn't be the gate part. It would be the summon. Yeah, he can just summon orcs and gibbering mouthers. That's right.
Right, and insects.
And insects, sure.
An insect swarm.
That would be
Once
good.
a day.
That's right.
Okay.
Now,
once a day.
Yeah. Special defenses 1 to 4.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what was the other one?
Heat generation.
What does that do? Do we need to know about that?
He radiates heat, I guess.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
His vomit is like a steaming.
Yes.
Like a burning vomit flesh, spewing of vomit. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like a gibbering mouther. Little eyes.
Right.
In the vomit, it's like a gibbering mouther vomit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's got a smoking, smoldering dung. It's like smoldering dung. Speaking of smoldering dung, you need me to roll dice.
Speaking of dung smoldering, yeah, exactly. No, that's okay.
That's my house.
All right, special defenses.
I like this guy.
4 defenses, so I got to roll 4d10.
Wait, what's spell like and spell use abilities?
Well, go ahead, read it.
Should be based upon intelligence level and relative strength and hit dice. Well, you don't know my intelligence. Where's intelligence?
Low,
Wait, where's
average. It's back there.
Oh, we got to roll that. Should we roll that now to see if we have any spell-like abilities?
Yeah, this is not done very well. So D4. I mean, I don't know how you could do it. 4. So he's high. He's smart.
Oh, he's high, so we probably have spell-like ability.
Yeah.
Don't you think? From 1 to 2 spells and a light number of spell-like abilities is sufficient for. Well, we're probably lesser.
Yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
more powerful and intelligent. Well, we are intelligent, but how powerful would you say we are?
We're not that intelligent because we're powerful because we only have 7 hit dice.
So we should do 1 to 2 spells then?
Yeah.
Okay. So an episode of you thought you could get away
From
from
spell selection? No.
You can't. It's back, baby. All right, we're getting roll 1 to 2 spells. So D6, how many are we getting?
2.
We get 2, baby. Okay. And now do I think you should just do it like the scroll chart.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. And then we're going to spend a half an hour talking about these spells.
No.
No, we're not.
71. Oh, cleric.
How about your Bucks? Congratulations.
They're if they can win tomorrow, that'd be good. Pretty
That'd be
exciting.
good. Okay, a cleric spell.
Cleric spell, 5th level. What is it?
Whoa, nice.
D12.
I see a reverse one coming here. D10, sir.
D10. 3.
Oh, cure critical wounds.
So-
and you know it's got to be reversed.
Yes, cause critical wounds.
wound.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, and the next one?
He's got cause critical. Hopefully someone's writing this up. 98, that's also
You're not
cleric.
writing this?
No.
What is it? What's 98?
98 is cleric again, if I remember correctly. Scroll.
He's a
And-
very religious man.
It's another, that's right. Another cleric spell. 7th level. Wow.
Whoa.
How many are there? 10? Or 8?
Yeah,
10?
10.
4.
Gate.
Gate. Well, there you go. He's got a gate.
So
He
does the other one. So he's got the one that is he can summon.
Yeah, he
as a
can
special
summon
attack, and the other one's
orcs.
gate.
Yeah, like 2 to 24 orcs, 1 to 4 gibbering mouthers, something insects, and then he can gate.
Yes, and is Jubilex? He's chaotic evil, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a demon, right?
Mhm.
So we can be like a minion. We can be like one of his right hand.
Right.
Oh wait, male or female? You need to roll.
It doesn't say.
Oh.
He may not be any. Why are you so gender?
Okay, so 1, 2. No, you're right. 1, 2, male. 3, 4, female. 5, 6, neither. Right?
Yeah. Female.
Okay. So this is like,
The handmaiden of Jubilex.
or it could be like the concubine.
Oh.
I don't know what that word means.
Yeah, it's got slimes and vomit. Just think of what it is.
This is Jubilex's lady.
That's right.
Lady friend.
Lady friend.
My lady friend is +1.
Oh.
That's the name is Jubilex is plus.
Oh.
Jubilex's lady friend.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. So where are we at?
We are in hell now. Special
The event.
we're in-
Okay. So it's on to special defenses, right?
Yep, D4. 4 special defenses.
Wow.
Yeah, she probably is the handmaiden of the concubine of Jubilex. 1, 6, 4, and 7. 1, 4, 6, 7.
1 is acid immunity. That would make sense,
Yep.
right? 4 is fire immunity. That would make sense. 6 is metal immunity. What does that mean? That they can't be struck by a metal weapon and harmed by it?
Well, it says above, metal immunity can pertain to iron, silver, steel. So he would be immune to certain metal, not all metal.
Oh, yeah, pertaining to. Oh, I see. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Well,
But
what is
excluding magical weaponry.
it? Oh, okay. All right. So give me just give me a D6.
3.
Steel.
Steel. Nice.
Okay, immune from
So,
steel.
so basically normal weapons, normal steel-bladed weapons aren't going to hurt this thing.
Wow. Okay. And what was your other?
1,
numbers?
4, 6, and 7. Poison.
Wow, poison immunity.
Makes sense.
That's nice. Oh, what are other abilities? Where does that come from? Audio or visual superior would tend to negate surprise. How do you get other abilities?
Well, I think he has. We said based on she having 3 eyes located, she has visual superiority.
Yeah, and probably you're right. Okay, you're right. So that would make sense. We'll do visual superiority. Okay, so there is our demon.
Right. We need to name the demon.
Right.
Someone thinks they should be the +1 of Demogorgon. I don't know.
Oh.
I think this one's more Jubilex.
Well, this in a she's Demogorgon's ex.
Oh, that's a good storyline.
A little bit. There's a little bit of tension.
That's right. A little
down
tension.
There,
mm-hmm.
Right. Everyone wants her. She's like the Bo Derek. I mean,
that's
that
right.
She's kind of 1981-ish.
Yeah.
She
Farrah Fawcett.
She's right. No, that poster is classic, isn't it? She is the it girl in the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? Everyone.
Every demon lord's got an eye on her.
Yeah. She's like always in the tabloids. So right,
covering her horn-eyed head.
Right. No one has an eye on a horn.
This eye. That's good too. But he wouldn't be able to attack as well. So.
All right. So all right. I don't know what we're gonna do with her.
Well, we got her. We created
her.
So that was fun. That's a good creature. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, I think demons do love chicks with acid vomit. Nothing says love like vomiting acid at will. Hot acid, like magma acid.
Hot acid. You need to do So if there is a 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that means that or maybe if you've been hit by all 4 of the arms,
right? That
means you've now in a bear hug. And then it's another roll on the next round. We'll have to type it all up, of course. The next round, then the attack is going to be the special vomit attack,
right? Which
a little mini gibbering mouther goes into you.
Exactly, okay. a little bit of that.
And you slowly to turn into a gibbering mouther. You start to get eyes, and slowly it's like the fly.
Yeah, it's because it's actually the DNA of the creature gets vomited in you.
Yeah, you're a were gibbering mouther.
You're a were-mouther.
He's changing.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we still have to do have you ever played a wizard in the heart of the hobgoblin lair with a sack and everything else, right?
Yeah, we need to do it. We do. So are we on to that segment now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so this segment, of course, is from our friend Kelly Velomir's magazine, First Encounter from the early 80s. He did a Have You Ever Played a Wizard in the Heart of a Hobgoblin Lair, where it's basically like a choose-your-own-adventure, see your skills at playing a wizard. And obviously, this session today, of course, has to be brought to us, by Good Stuff Games.
Yep.
Come into our store, Human Scum. There are 2 stores to serve you, one in the Coquitlam Center in Port Coquitlam, BC, 604-464-2744, and another in Surrey Place, Surrey, British Columbia, 604-585-2525. Tell them James and Dan sent you,
yes,
and
please.
You heard about it on GROGTALK. Okay, so if I recall correctly, we had succeeded in killing giant rats.
Does
that sound familiar?
I have hobgoblin with a sack.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, it could be the rats. Yeah.
I think hobgoblin with sack was before that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be.
All right.
I didn't write it down because that was my mistake. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we sneaked up. We saw hobgoblin cursing at a door and following with some keys, and then after that, maybe you're right. Hang on. It is true. Curiosity does kill the cat, but not you. Well, on to the great hall with the descent. Tell me if it sounds familiar. Well, on to the great hall where your gem has been put for safekeeping. As you approach the hall, you see a great chasm of load up. No, that's. I think you're right. That's new, right?
Yeah, so I wrote it down. Yay for me.
You're correct. Okay, so it is true. Curiosity does kill the cat, but not you. Well,
Vale. I'm sorry. Vale says we killed the rats last time.
Oh.
Now I'm confused. When was the rats?
When was the rats? Let me see. When was rats? I really thought I had this. Well, we killed the roper.
Yep.
Right? And then, oh yeah, no, it was. Yeah, it was. However, you hear a squeaking noise coming from the opposite corners. So yeah, you saw.
Yeah, we killed the rats because we did the burning
It was
hands.
we see the hobgoblin encouraging the door phone with keys. He doesn't detect you, and you get your dagger out. Remember this, and you say, "Where's my gem? Tell me, or I'll slit your throat here and now." You demand. The frightened hobgoblin seems to know exactly what you want, and he tells us where it's located. And we killed. We're all right.
Oh yeah.
We killed. That was not the choices. We kill him, and so we're all excited, right? He says, "The frightened hobgoblin seems to know exactly what you want and tells you where the gem can be located." So we're on to it. You decide to end his existence anyway. Well, you know where your gem is, but remember, curiosity got the curiosity better of us. What's behind that door? This is crazy because we know where the gem is. We opened it anyway, and out jumped the rat. Out jumped the rat, and we killed him. Okay, so it is true. Curiosity does kill the cat, but not you. That now makes sense.
Yes.
Well, on to the Great Hall.
Right.
Apparently, this is where we've been told the gem is.
Right.
And of course, we are Elron. No, not Elron.
Oh,
we are
Elron Hubbard? No, I don't think so.
Oh, we're Elron Baroon.
Elron Baroon, the 8th level evil magic user.
Correct. As you approach the hall. Okay, onto the Great Hall where your gem has been put for safekeeping. As you approach the hall, you see the great chasm of Lopdup. 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 Is that something I should know, or is this maybe just a name that Kelly has come up with?
I have
the
no
great
idea what that is.
What is it backwards? I always do this with D&D.
Lopdup.
Lop, L-O-P-D-U-P. Lopdup.
L-O-P-P-U-D?
L-O-P.
So that would be D-U-P-P-O-D. Dupod. Dupod.
It would be, no, wait, Pudpole.
Pudpole. Yeah, what's that?
I don't know. We must cross this great chasm.
Mm-hmm.
There is but a single span across this bridge, very narrow. And on top of the span stands 2 hobgoblin guards. Could have been a Balrog. 2 hobgoblin guards. Here we go. So we're getting close, James. What do you decide to do?
So there's a Great Hall chasm, right? Is that what?
There is a very narrow chasm, and on top of the span stand 2 hobgoblin guards. So I guess it's not so narrow that it cannot accommodate 2 hobgoblin guards, who I assume are standing side by side. So you have 2 hobgoblin guards, and I still have 6 hit points. I know you're dead.
I'm dead.
You're just like your spirit, or
I'm in spectator mode. I'm following you.
Right. Okay, number 1, cast slow. And if you've used we're playing with the honor system.
Right.
If you use these spells, don't
can't use them
cheat.
again.
Right. Cast slow spell on them, then attack with dagger. Oh, I don't want to fall off this bridge. 2 is attack immediately with dagger.
Okay.
3 is cast sleep spell on them, then proceed. Oh, I'm liking that one. 4, sneak up to them. Oh, maybe they're turned around. Sneak up to them, then use Wand of Paralyzation on first hobgoblin, attack other with dagger. Melee for a magic user just seems like a bad idea. Didn't someone already die from, a centipede?
Right, exactly.
5 is cast continue light in front of them, then attack with dagger. Oh, you're going to love the next one, James.
Mm-hmm.
6, use push scroll.
Oh.
One to fall on the other, then fall down the chasm. Oh, it's like when you go to a restaurant,
right,
and you just see that item on the menu,
right, and
you're like, that. Okay.
You had me at that.
You had me at push. 7. That should be one of our T-shirts. You had me at push spell. Maybe it should go along with the. Maybe it should be combined with the Flesh Pole Festival shirt.
Have me a push spell? That's all right. You complete me. You complete me with your push spell. Okay. I love it.
7. Polymorph. Oh, this is nice. Polymorph self into a bat, then fly past them. Well, what are they armed with?
Oh, wow, that is so good too.
That's classic. I hope they don't have a ranged weapon. 8, cast magic. Because that would be terrible. You get an arrow in you, and then you turn into your human and you just fall, right? Okay, 8, cast magic missiles at them. 2 for each one. That'd be great if you still have your magic missile spell. Yeah. 9, use protection from evil scroll on self, then attack with dagger. 10, use hexcrawl on self, then attack with dagger. 11, being really fast on a narrow bridge over a chasm.
What's 11?
10 is haste. 11 is cast burning hands on them, then attack with dagger. Oh. And 12?
There's more than 10, because usually it's just 10. He went all out on this one.
36.
What?
There's 36.
There's 36 choices? Yeah.
That's the last one. There's 12. Fireball, baby.
Oh, yeah, fireball.
That'd be kind of nice, because that would be pretty cool to see that fireball, like, going across that chasm on that bridge and just obliterate. That's just like a missile strike, isn't it? That's like one of those videos, right? Right? Yeah. Okay. So you want to repeat them, or you want me to repeat them?
I put him in the text, in the chat.
Okay.
Slow spell, attack with dagger, sleep, sneak up, wand of paralyzation attack, continue light attack, push scroll, polymorph, bat, magic missile, protection from evil, then attack, haste and attack, burning hands, fireball.
And this is tough because I was so in love. I'm in love with 2 items on the menu. That bat one is pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going with 6, the push scroll. Because look, if you don't, when would you use it?
Never.
I can turn it bat anytime. Do stuff with that. But yeah, okay.
That's right.
James, what are you doing?
6 is clearly. So if you all want to play at home, there's people out there. Just tell us what. Yes, Adrian rightly is with us. He says 6 is the winner.
Oh wait, 3 6s.
That's right. Well, there could be another. If you want to play, type in the chat. Lloyd is doing sleep 3. That's very practical.
Oh, that's a good one too. Do you think so? They fall over? That'd be kind of cool.
They could fall over. You have to adjudicate that, right?
Yeah, I'd definitely give a roll for that. That'd be pretty cool. It's like bowling ball. It's like pins too. One sleep falls into the other.
Yeah, they just fall over. Yep. So we got a push spell. If you're gonna want to play, you've got 5 seconds because they're 10 seconds behind us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all right, Dan, we can start.
Okay. So you tell me what they were, and I'll tell you the answer.
Number 1, slow spell dagger.
It works, but you do take 5 hit points of damage from melee.
No, so if you did that, you'd be really hurting. So I'm glad you didn't do that.
1 hit point.
Yeah. 2, attack with dagger.
Take 7 hit points of damage before killing them.
That's that.
I gotta tell you, I'm impressed though with Elron Baroon. I mean, this guy's going into melee with 2 hobgoblins.
Right.
And I mean, he's a magic user, and he's winning. He should be dead, shouldn't he?
He's a badass.
He is a badass. He's got more hit points than I have left. Okay.
3, sleep. This is very direct. I think it's a good one.
I think that it's a good one, and it is, in fact, a good one. It works, no damage, and we're going to adjudicate that they fall down the chasm.
Right.
Okay?
4, sneak up, then wand of paralyzation, then attack.
It works, but take 5 hit points of damage from melee.
Yeah. 5 is continual light.
That was 4 was paralyzation?
Yeah, sneak up, then wand of paralyzation, then attack.
Oh, first hobgoblin, so it only gets 1.
Yeah.
It only had 1 charge. Got it. Okay, what's 5?
5 is continual light, then attack.
Wow, take 6 hit points of damage before killing them. I would have been done.
Yeah, that would have been it. All right, number 6.
Same as K3. It works, no damage. Yay.
That feels good. Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, because you push 8 foot-pound of thing as an 8th level magic user, you're super powerful.
Isn't there a song like "Push It" or something like that?
Yes, Salt and Pepper.
I got that song in my head right now.
Except the problem is they scream us all the way down. That's the only bad thing with the push.
Oh, they're alerting everybody, and then then all of a sudden it is like the scene in Lord of the Rings. There's arrows everywhere.
Son of a took.
Fly, you fools!
All right, 7, which was also, and it's just like the restaurant. You hit the perfect one, and then they say that, and we're like, oh, so 7's good. Polymorph bat, fly past.
Whoa, this one's even better. It's the same as K3, which is it works, it takes no damage. But if you pick, no one picked that one, right?
No, Vic picked 7.
Vic gets to disregard the next encounter.
Congratulations, Vic.
Wow, he's the real winner on this one. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good job. All right, 8, magic missile.
It worked to no damage.
Yeah, that makes sense. 9 is protection from evil, scroll, then attack.
It works, but take 5 hit points of damage.
That sucks. 10 haste.
It helps, but take 4 hit points of damage from melee before falling from the bridge. No, it doesn't say that. I would have wrote that.
Right.
Just 4 hit points of damage.
11 is burning hands.
It helps, but take 2 hit points of damage.
And then fireball.
It works, no damage. I would hope so. Yeah, I would, and the bridge is destroyed.
Yeah, and everything's gone.
Earth crumbling. No structural integrity, man. Who built that thing?
So in fact, I got to write that down. Vic with number. See, that's what's so bad. That's so.
Vic, yeah, well, he's defending Grog. He was part of the defending champs for GROGTAK.
That's right. Vic skips next round. Okay.
Vic, you can sleep in next time.
You can sleep in next time. So Lloyd, push allows a save. Sleep no. Yes. Lloyd's not taking the spirit of our push spell. We love push spell because it's a ridiculous spell. That's why we picked that.
You need it for like this situation. There's 2 hobgoblins on a narrow bridge across a chasm.
Right. Sleep spell is by far the best spell to use in this thing. But that's not fun. Fun is push spell. That's fun.
Yeah. It's funny because, right? Yeah, because I guess you just do the one dude, and he's like, hey, what are you doing?
That's right. He kind of falls over, and they both fall over. That's just classic.
Have you been drinking?
Yeah. So he fails to save and everything else. So, okay.
Yeah, they all go. Yep.
That's all good. All right. Now we're on to talk about traveling in D&D, and we'll bring Vic on in a few minutes. We're going to lay the groundwork because he wants to talk about encounters and hex crawling. But first, we're going to talk about traveling in D&D. So this is on page 47 of the DMG. And I did go on Discord asking people about this as well. So what Gary says in the DMG is that as a precursor to this, you should have a hex map. And again, what's interesting is what they expected. Naturally, the initial adventuring in the campaign will be those in a small community nearby underground maze. And then for whatever reason, player desire, quest or geese, or Gaius, or because of your own direction, adventuring will sooner or later move to the outdoors. What you must do to handle this is not difficult, following the general procedures given below. So again, the ideas, and there's a lot of DM videos out there how to DM, and the basic good advice is you start with the small town, with the small dungeon, you get people familiar with the game, you start the plot, and then at some point they're going to want to travel beyond traveling to the town, it's a mile away, half a mile away, that kind of thing. And they're going to do some large scale traveling. And so there's a bunch of ways to do that.
Well, so let's say I'm a first level 5. I've finished my apprenticeship with the local guy who's like third. I don't know what level you got to be.
Third or fourth, yeah. Something.
Okay, so he's like amazing to me, right? I mean,
well, fourth level's a hero, right? Fourth level fighter is a hero.
Yeah, so there's like this hero in this town. He's head of the militia. He's trained me, but now I'm ready to look. I want to go to the big city. So what do I need? My mom's very worried. She doesn't want me to go, but I'm going.
Well, that's not how this version of it is. At least if the way I read it, is somehow you've magically showed up at this town. You start you're at the Rusty Dagger, like Pixie and Glades.
Right.
We don't know how you got there. We're not going to roll for random encounters and kill you on the way there. You've gotten there. You do your adventuring, you've done what you need to do in this town, and now you're at the point that you now must travel from this town to your next adventure, whatever that is.
And so really, and where I was heading this, I'd like to know what equipment, what do I need? So I'm ready to travel. What should I be buying to travel? So I'm going to need a steed. I don't need a steed. I don't know why I said that, right? But I assume I'm going to need...
Well, it depends how you're going to travel. And that goes back to why you need, as the DM... Again, the idea is you start like we did with Pixie and Glades. You start at the Rusty Dagger. It's a small hamlet. There's a tomb. Now the clock is ticking for me, the DM, to start fleshing out some of the things. Perhaps there's a river a mile away, and the big town I want to get to is at the river. Well, then I don't need a horse because I probably would take the river. Might be faster, as we'll find out. Or maybe it's mountainous. Well, then now I need cold gear. So I think your question is then predicated on the DM doing some work to figure out what's around there.
Okay, gotcha.
If that's
all right.
That's my take on it. But so let's just say, for argument's sake, and again, using pixie and glades in the small hamlet. There was a road. They came from a big town. The town is, in this case, it's a town. It's not a city. It's 10 miles away. You could either walk or you could take a horse. But then the city is 70 miles away by road. Probably would want a horse if you could get one.
What if I am a smaller player? I'm a halfling, or what am I riding?
A diminutive? Oh, pony. They have ponies in the player's handbook.
I see. 15 gold pieces. Can I ride a goat?
Why not?
What's the advantage of having a pony over a goat? I guess goats are slow. We're only going to be as fast as our slowest person.
True.
Right? So if we've got small characters, if we have a dwarf or a halfling.
Well, you could have them ride with you on the horse. That would.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the smarter thing to do. Okay.
Or you put them in the cart. Or if you have a priest of Dionysus, they have to be in the cart.
That's right. That's right. All the Greek ones, I believe,
Yeah.
except for
one. Apollo?
I think Apollo. Okay. All right.
There is a fact that we have that later in our lives we'll go, why do I know that? That's really a very obtuse fact. But
it is obtuse. We should ask Jim about it when we have the show.
We asked him about the more important thing, which was the Aphrodite mentioned. That was what was important.
So travel. So obviously it's important if there's going to be encounters along the way, right? Other than that, for most DMs, you're not going to be, unless you're doing a hexcrawl, the travel is just, okay, time might matter if you have to go somewhere and come back. Like I think I remember one adventure when I was running the Pelennor campaign, you had to ride back to town. I can't remember why, but you rode back to town, and I actually had done the weather. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we should mention too in this as well, sure. Is that if you're going to do all this, you really should also be doing weather, shouldn't you? Because that would have an effect. If I recall when you were riding back, I'd done weather and it was snowing heavily.
Right, and I think a lot of if this is the next quote unquote level kind of DMing, which is the first level, it's very easy. You put it in and what are you trying to accomplish with this outside world? To me, the outside world, I want to have that famous word verisimilitude, the idea that the world's a living, breathing thing, and it's not just the wait screen between different dungeons. You go from one dungeon and then the wait screen and you go to another dungeon, or you go to town. So that's, the journey is the adventure kind of thing. I see Vic saying hexcrawling is the adventure. So you should have weather if you can remember. You should have the seasons, could have it. You should describe some of that. It makes your world real. And one of the controversies we'll talk about is, when you deal with encounters, how real do you want to make them? There's a lot of, especially newer games, your encounters are balanced, whereas first edition and other older editions classically have unbalanced editions.
Here, the difficulty for me is that it seems to me that there's a tension between preparing an adventure and then saying, I'm going to create this world and allow things to happen sort of organically and let the players have a lot of free will and what happens. So, okay, what are you running? You're running an adventure tonight? So I'm in a group of yours and you've created this world. And so I guess you're going to have me travel to the route, right? So the ruins or whatever, right? I'm going to the city because the route is 70 miles away.
You finished the adventures in this hamlet. You've saved Alyssa. You found out the mystery of the tower, and there ain't nothing unless you're going to start farming. You've heard that
the dragon's been killed.
Yeah, the dragon's been killed near the city, and you're going to go try to find its treasure. So you're headed back that way.
So I'm going 70 miles. So okay, so I assume have you written an adventure? I assume you've written an adventure for when I arrive at the city, correct?
Maybe not.
Oh, okay. Because so what you're saying is that you may do it is the next session's adventure is just the travel.
Correct.
Okay.
If I want to emphasize it, then yes, that's what I would do. I would absolutely do that.
And this is a real skill, it seems to me, because I assume what you've done is you've not written. You know the road. And Gary gives us information for encounters and things like that. But are you, so for the travel, are you planning anything, or are you just going to have it? Is it going to be a true, and I assume, Vic will talk about this, is it going to be a true, just sort of random hex crawl,
Yeah.
that you've not really prepared anything, and you've actually got to wing it when something comes up?
I prefer that, but if there is something I want to have happen to do that, then I would plan that. I would not plan the rest of it. So when I was running the Giant series, and they have to go from the steading of the Hill Giant to the Jarl's place, on the real Greyhawk, it's not right next to each other. You got to travel there. And against the Giants, there is, especially the newer version where they compile all the Giants and the Drow, it has random tables for that. So I just rolled it. And one of the encounters was a Storm Giant. I'm like, oh my crap. So they had been murdering giants all over the place, and they realized probably shouldn't murder this giant that's summoning lightning bolts. And because the giants were basically revolting against the order, that's more of a 5th edition thing, is the idea that the storm giants are at the top, and then the cloud giants, they have their pecking order regardless of alignment. Storm giant's pissed. I rolled, he has 2 rocks, the big giant bird things. So he said, hey, I'll let you use them if you go, because they freed the storm giantess. And so I said, oh, this random storm giant is the mate of the storm giant they freed.
Oh, see, that's very good, because that's what you got to do. You got to do it on the fly.
Right. That's what I did on the fly. I didn't plan it, and that worked out. There's other times it's not going to work out. So you can kind of go, yeah, this random stuff didn't work out, but that case, it did. So I like doing that. That's what makes it fun. But it also depends. So for instance, you're not going to have an adventure if they have a ring of teleport, or they have a teleport spell, because they're going to go bloop, and they're going to be there. But in this case, they're lower level. They're going to have to travel. And as you notice, so on page 47, I know there's going to be an encounter based on how many days and how they're traveling will determine how many chances they'll have an encounter. If it's pretty likely to have an encounter, this may be the whole trip. I mean, this may be the whole session for them traveling there. So part of what I'm going to look at is where they're coming from, how they're going to get there, and that'll kind of give me an idea how many encounters, and then I can kind of work my way backwards to that. So,
and you could roll it in advance.
Right, you could do all this in advance if you wanted to, absolutely, if I have time. But normally I don't, because it's more fun rolling it.
And I like how, maybe it's counterintuitive, but it makes sense. I like how, of course, if you're in a relatively dense area, the chance of encounter is lower, because I guess you scared away all the monsters, right? As you go to an uninhabited area, your chance of encounter increase. It sounds counterintuitive, but of course it's because you're in the middle of nowhere. More monsters are going to be in the middle of nowhere, as opposed to, I assume, in a really inhabited area.
And the idea of encounters, so we're looking at the bottom 47. You have a 1 in 20 chance relatively dense, 1 in 12 moderately, and 1 in 10 uninhabited. And then what's nice is it says frequency of encounters. So if you're in the forest but on a road, let's just say, you're going to check a lot. But you're going to get through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, so the worst obviously is if you're either in a marsh or a forest, right? I think those are the two that you check.
Right.
What is it? Six times.
Yep, basically every 4 hours.
And if you are in a forest or a marsh, I'm going to assume that this is uninhabited / wilderness probably. So 6 times, 1 in 10 chance. So actually, I think on average, you will get an encounter a day, I guess.
Well, you have a 50-50 chance of having a 6 in 10 chance per day. So within 2 days, you probably are going to have an encounter.
Yeah, so, okay. So that was very helpful. And now you got to figure out how long it's going to take you. And I know there's a chance for you to get lost as well, correct?
Yeah, we'll talk about lost in a second, which some people used, some people didn't. And when we did our hex crawl with Vic, we were getting lost. Remember, we kept going round and round.
Yeah. We couldn't figure out that the mountain's that way.
Right. So
what happened to that mountain? Why is that mountain behind us now?
Right. Vic was not being nice to us either. I mean, in theory, if we've been to the place, we're not that morons, but I guess we are. So,
yeah, we are.
Right. So again, this is like what people are saying is, let's say I didn't write the next adventure, but we got an adventure. Well, this is a perfect time to basically blow off a session and then wander around. And so, as the adventurers, they better have food because they could get lost, or they better have people who can forage. They better have food for their mounts. Horses need to eat. If you're going through the desert, you got to feed them. In the campaign that Tom is running, we had to have carts with our provisions because we're going through the desert.
Yes, I noticed that. It was discussed. I can't remember maybe it was discussed on Flying Mounts.
Yes, it was.
They said how expensive. Typical Gary, right? Explaining how expensive they are, what you have to feed them.
Yeah, on page 50, under Griffins, it says that.
Yeah, it is. It's a different kind of game than many people play because again, it is keeping track of it. Okay, your horse is looking weak. I give him some oats. Do you have any? No. Okay. Well, I let him eat something. All right. Where's the pasture? It's that kind, right? I mean, it's that kind of game. And some people like it, some people don't.
Well, I guess the history of D&D, as I've heard from a number of sources, is that obviously original D&D didn't have any of this, and you would use, just like you'd use chainmail for combat, you'd use the Avalon Hill Overland Encounter board game if you wanted to move from town to town, and they use that to figure out the encounters. So you basically had this third-party game to do that.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, so I sat down last night, I was flipping through this and turning. It seemed in some respects a little wargamey to me, right? We're dealing with hexes and movement rates and a lot of adjustments. So if you played war games, of course you got the different terrains for each hex. And so it's like, because you got to find the movement rates, it's a little bit in a different place, right? I mean, it's nearby, it's in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's
right?
page 58.
Sorry, so 58, right? So you've got movement, right? They're talking about, there's movement on 49 and getting lost, but to get to the movement rate, you got to go all the way to 58. So getting
You mean
lost,
it's not organized, the DMG, in a logical manner?
Right, I'm shocked. Gambling in Casablanca. So, yeah. So this is the one. 58 is the one I use the most, just because that to me is the most significant. How long does it take to get from point A to point B? And so I use this chart on occasion when I was DMing.
And that's why for the hexcrawl that we were doing, I always suggested the water, because you can see moving at sea is 50 miles a day sailed versus, if you have a road, yeah, that's fine. If you're light, you can get up to 60, but it's more likely you're probably going to go 25 or 30.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, and that makes sense not only from a speed point, but if you are, in fact, if your DM is going to treat it as a hex crawl and your goal is to live, hill giants are common. We know this.
Right.
Trolls are uncommon. I mean, look at the number of chance of encounter and what you could encounter. I mean, when we were doing Vix's hex crawl, didn't we encounter like 100 hobgoblins?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's right.
Coming down the street. It sounds to me like the idea of D&D is that wandering in the middle of nowhere, even though it's a road, thank you for somebody putting this road there, is very dangerous.
Correct.
And very scary, right? And so you should really try to avoid overland. Is that one of the lessons?
Yes.
Avoid overland. If your DM is going to do it, play it that way. A lot of DMs don't play it that way. You're like, okay, you're there.
Right. But it's really the only time you have to use it is early to mid-level, because later levels, they're going to have magic. They're going to teleport. They're going to fly there. They're going to have mounts there. And travel becomes less of an issue.
It's like first class and all that. It's like a private jet versus I'm the schmuck who's, in coach next to the bathroom. Yeah,
because as we read later in flying, if you have a boots of flying or whatever, carpet, you're going to go 100 miles a day roughly.
So that means you can look up. Like, now how you look up, and now you can actually see every now and then. You see, like, something going through. It's like a drone maybe or something. Like, what is that? That's like in D&D, it's like some dude on a magic carpet. You're like, look, what is that? It's some dude on a magic carpet.
with the trail across. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. So there's like drone traffic, like with magic carpets. And there's like a dude at a hippogriff, like way up there. You're like, what is that? Like, I think is that a hippogriff?
Yeah, I mean, what you would do, or I would do, is, I'm sure the party would do it, and my party would someone gave them a portable hole, not you, your other cohort gave the party a portable hole. So what they would do is once they had teleport, the magic user would hold the portable hole. They all jump in the portable hole. They'd cast teleport, and poof, they were there. Now, if the magic user rolled bad, game over. But they were willing to take. They'd rather take the 1 or 2% chance that they would be, him be embedded in the bedrock than traveling 10 days across whatever.
Yeah, it's like a rocket ship. It's more dangerous, but I'll take it. It's faster. I just
Right.
can't. I could drive and it'd be slower, but yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay, so I thought the flying mount. I never dealt with flying mounts because, well, number one, I didn't play a lot of high-level campaigns, and I just never really thought about it. What I think is interesting is that as is so often the case, you find interesting information about other stuff in other sections of the DMG. So this was just sort of an interesting discussion of griffins, hippogriffs, and pegasi.
Right.
So in other words, if you're like, let's say we were talking about pegasi that came up as a random monster, I wouldn't really think to look on page 50 of the DMG to learn about pegasi. But you do, right? You learn how one will eat the other. Do they get along with each other? What do they eat? So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and I haven't had that, but that's, going back to, there's two parts of this. One is a party adventure, and then there's a lot of references to large units moving through. So again, the game that you and I didn't play that much is the idea. Now you have a kingdom, right? You can't teleport 150 men or 300 men in their horses. Now you are traveling across. And some encounters you're not going to have, as it says here, because I don't know if it's in here or it's in the encounter area. 20 bugbears are not going to attack a caravan with 300 soldiers, an army that's going through. They're going to be like, no thanks. They're going to be, whereas, I don't know, the 20 trolls may attack, like they did in Vic's Hexcrawl. They're like, I don't care. You can't kill us. We're gonna take our chances and attack you because we're hungry.
Oh yeah, I assume a lot of hex crawling should literally just be you handing over all your stuff. You're basically naked. Like, okay, thanks for not killing me. But they're just, they take all your stuff. You're not even worth killing. They're just like, yeah, give us everything. It's a shakedown. A lot of shakedowns. Okay.
There's a lot of shakedowns if you're weak, and that's why we try to go with a caravan, or we try to go on a boat, because boats, as we find, because it's, of course, as we said, not very organized. This is great, this little chart on page 47. How many times do you check? What's the chance? Okay, what if I'm on a boat? Oh, that's in the back. If you want to know how many times you get attacked on a boat, you have to go into random encounters. You go under waterborne encounters in Appendix C, page 190. Then it asks if you're on freshwater or saltwater. Freshwater. Encounters occur 1 in 20. Check morning, evening, and midnight. So there you're only it's a 5% chance 3 times. So you were likely, if you go a week, you maybe have 1 encounter. It may be horrible because the sea creatures are very terrifying, but you're less likely to be attacked by things in the water.
I'm sorry, I just like the city-town encounter table. Some of the things that you encounter. Why am I encountering a night hag? It's only at night. Wow, that's rough, man. I'm like just in this town, and it's like you get a night hag. Yeah. Jeez. Okay.
Or a vampire lich. Right. You have a 1 in 0.25% chance of running into a lich
in town.
Yeah.
At night.
Yeah.
Or a will-o-wisp. What's a will-o-wisp doing in town? But okay. So.
Not that we digress.
Right. So traveling by boat is obviously better. So tell me some of the ways. So you've mentioned some of the ways that I can magically travel.
Right. Well, first, so we have land, right, which is the most common. You could get lost, and obviously the more dense, and as a DM, it's a lot of busy work to try to figure this out. But they give you a hex thing, and you're supposed to be nice to your players. If they go by the same place, they're supposed to figure that out. Vic, then.
And we need to note that I'm not going to get lost if I'm following a road, thankfully, right, or a river.
Or if
I have
someone has knowledge of the area.
right. Now, what if I have a ranger? I mean, I'm not trying to say that rangers know all, or but so I can get lost, I guess, with a ranger.
You
I mean,
you
can
could.
I tell?
I'm sorry.
I mean, the sun. I mean, can I know I'm going the wrong direction based on? But I guess people do get lost. I mean,
Yeah, they get lost all the time if they don't know what they're doing. Rangers, I would at a best, if it's in their home area, if they're from this area, you couldn't get lost, in my opinion. If they were going through an area that they're not familiar with, they would reduce the chance of getting lost by a lot.
yeah.
Especially how broken the tracking thing is. Especially if you're tracking people, right? Then I don't think they would get lost. There should be a chance, especially if you're tracking magical creatures. But yeah, you could.
Or you're tracking somebody who's lost.
Right. That's right. We totally are tracking them.
Follow these dudes.
Right.
Surely they know where they're going.
Right. Oh, they're following me. Right. That happens all the time. Like I'm in a subway or an airport, and you're driving. You don't know where you're going. People are. I'm like, don't follow me. I have literally no idea what I'm talking about.
So yeah, 7 in 10 chance of getting lost in the forest, in any direction.
Right.
7 in 10, 6 in 10 in a marsh, any direction. That is rough. At least the plane is only a 1 in 10. So that, of course, is so you got to do it right. You've got to calculate. So what's my movement rate? What am I riding? What's the terrain like? Calculate the movement rate. Then figure out, do you have a road? So it really does encourage you to follow a road and maybe find water.
Or pay for a guide. So this, goes back to your smart players are going to go, oh, I heard there's a tower in the wilderness. The bartender goes, it's that way. You may want to find someone who's been there and pay them to go take you there.
Yeah, boy, this is, I think you got to have a lot of time. You got to have the right players, the right DM, a lot of time. You're really talking a very different vibe, right? This is a big deal, in my opinion.
Right.
To play this way. It's very time consuming. You got to have people that don't sigh, right, about, okay, all right, how long does the horse, how many miles do I have the oats? We're rolling for all the random encounters. We never even get to the ruin. You told me where are the ruins. So yeah, all right.
Well,
but it could be fun. I mean, it could be a lot of fun, right? Because I like random.
Yeah.
It could be
so for me, I don't emphasize, unless this is really a gritty game, how many did you buy the proper pounds of feed for your horses? Especially if they're third level, they got money. I'm going to say, yeah, they buy it. Unless there's a disaster,
yeah,
they've got it. But why I like, and if Vic, if you're on, if you want to come on and talk about hexcrawling, just get on Skype and I'll call you. The reason I like hexcrawling is because it fleshes out your world on the fly. Mm-hmm. It forces you to figure things out. So another random encounter, I rolled up Minotaur in this hills area. So I'm like, well, why is there a Minotaur here? And I just kind of made it up as you did it. And now there was a maze. And they either could go through the maze in that little Minotaur area, or they could just keep moving on. Or they wrote down, oh, there's this Minotaurs and mazes, because they killed one and the other one ran into the maze. Like, well, we're not going after him because who knows what else is in there. So it forces you to flesh out things that you normally would not do.
If I got a random Minotaur and they were like, okay, we're going to follow this Minotaur, I'm just grabbing B2. I'm like, okay, fine. You find a little area.
Right. And that's why there's a lot of supplements. There's a lot of supplements for that. Well, the Book of Layers came out and all these other things. So you want those things in your back pocket so you don't have to kind of make this up on the fly.
How many people can fit on a broom of flying or a carpet of flying? Because, so I've got the broom, which is funny too, because then I guess you're sitting there, you're in town. So like you're in this town and like people are landing like on a broom of flying. So you're just like sitting outside of whatever bar and like a dude lands in a broom of flying and like goes in.
Yeah, I would probably say I would land outside like a spaceship. When they always land outside, because you don't want people to see you have a broom of flying.
There's like a little broom of flying, like a little landing area, and like you put your broom of flying there, and you come back and get it, and you like lock it up. You got like a little bike lock.
Yeah, because that's just asking for people to steal your stuff, right? So I definitely wouldn't do that. I would be like, come back to that. All right, so now I'm look what we have on, and we're fading, and we're moving you in. Hello, Vic. How are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. We're talking about movement and this and that, and so now the next part of this discussion, we were just going to talk about magic, which you brought up, and then talk about random encounters and hexcrawls. So, Vic, what magic items can people use to avoid this terrible hexcrawling?
Well, okay. Let's see. You got teleportation. You got all the spells. You got gate spells. You got what are they? The carpet of flying. You got the broom of flying. You've got let's keep going here. Isn't there the since we're not
you could teleport. There's potions of flying.
Potions of flying.
The ring of flying.
Levitation.
I didn't. There's levitation, but levitation moves up and down. Unless you have a way to forward, you're kind of not helping.
And I want to go back a little bit. You guys were talking about combat and stuff. And in the book that shall not be named, there's something called the Rod of Security. You can actually get 200 troops into a Rod of Security, teleport with the Rod of Security to wherever you're going, hit the rod on the ground, and you can have 200 troops right around you. So it's just a way to you can startle an enemy pretty quickly if you use a Rod of Security. So
yeah, Rod. So yeah, that book. There's some tome out there with items that you could. Basically, you're like teleport an army of teleporting.
But you've got boots of speed. You've got the amulet of the plains. You've got, there's so many things you could use to move around with. You know,
the chariot of Sestair, the druid spell, water walking, wishes, horseshoes, and zephyrs of speed.
Hut.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of things that you could use to make it easier / better. Some are more obvious than others.
Qualish's apparatus or whatever that is, the little crab-like monster thingy you can go through the forest or whatever with. Of
course, if you have an artifact or something like that, you're probably not as concerned about random encounters for the most part because you have an artifact.
And did you know this is interesting?
You are the encounter.
Yes.
You're the problem.
But remember, guys, when you get to that level, you're at 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th level. You're starting in that semi-retirement mode as a character, so that Gary's built this into the system where you're semi-retiring your characters because they've got keeps to do, or they've got houses to maintain, they've got all this other stuff they've got to maintain. So it does sort of take the sales out of the game at that point because there's no danger really when you get to that point. It's like, 200 hobgoblins, so I'm going to teach them a lesson. I'm going to drop a 8d6 fireball in their midst, and if that doesn't work, I got a lightning bolt to help this encounter along.
Yeah,
but if you're a first level character, you run up to 20 hobgoblins, you're running for your lives.
as we well know, exactly. So, and you mentioned barbarians and rangers and druids. This is, you don't want to penalize if they're, especially a poor druid, right? He does nothing half the time he's in the dungeon. This is the time to really give them an opportunity to shine.
Right. And I look at it this way. I use it as a hierarchy, as I put a list up as what I'm doing this. Like a druid was in the woods all the time. Some are in the environment all the time. They know the sun. They know how the sun, rises in the east, sets in the west. They look at the moons, and they can do all this stuff. And they're so in tune with the environment that getting lost is next to impossible. Rangers, they're right there with them, but they're more fighter-like and stuff like that. Barbarians are in tune with the nature around them and the surroundings that they're at, so they'll have a better thing. And it keeps going down further down the list. Just a plain old fighter, he's looking up at the sky going, I don't know. Yeah. Or they got that, they got the, I got no clue where I'm at sort of thing. Your magic user, you two characters that were walking around in the in the mountains of the Stone Fist and the Snow Barbarians or whatever it was up in that region, you guys are totally out of your element.
Right.
It's wintertime. It was, you guys are from the sea.
Yeah,
coast.
we're fisher people in the sea,
Right.
in the lower plane. Yeah, absolutely. So
sure, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
Right.
But you're just like,
and so you have the fecal cat back, not the feral cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fecal cat.
Yeah, the feral cats were adopted out. They're doing very well.
Okay, good. So, so Vic, obviously you're a huge fan of hexcrawls. You've done a number of times. We thank you for that. So, what do you like about them? And the questions I would have for you is: do you balance your encounters at all, or you just roll them what you roll? And
Here's what I do.
And does each encounter have to be a combat? And let us know what you do.
Okay. No, not every encounter is a combat, because some of the time when you roll on the list, you get something on the list that says like, you get a monster that only operates during the daytime. You know what I mean? It moves around in the daytime or whatever. So you're just like, well, I'll throw this one right out the window. It doesn't even count. It doesn't matter. But what I do to help out players and stuff like that is I'll roll for the encounter, or actually what I do normally is to get the players more involved is what I'll do is I'll say, all right, James, roll a 10-sided die. Dan, roll a percentage die. And I'll keep going around. I'll keep asking questions, and they'll roll these numbers, and while I'm looking them up in the book instead of me looking. And then I'll go, all right, now let's see if they're in their lair. So James, roll the lair. You'll roll 65%. Well, it's not their lair. Now roll me another percentage die. And when instead of me saying it's like a D20 or whatever, I'll figure out if it's especially big group of characters like hobgoblins or goblins or some other large humanoid band, I'll roll a percentage. So if Dan rolls 22%, well, it's 22% of 200, which is 46 of them will be, these, you run into a small group of orcs running around, there's 46 of them. Do you take them on, or what do you do? So I try to do it that way. And then most of my people, what I do is I tell them mount up, get mounts or everything else. But I still got groups that go, I don't want to mount. So they get the brunt of the problems, because there's fight, flight, or negotiate. And most of my groups, will, use the flight rule, especially if they know they ain't going to win. So
right, and I back to fleshing out areas. I think Menyon, also known as Rob, who's a good friend of ours, he did a whole hour of his podcast on, which I listened to. It was good, about goblins, and that they're 4 to 400, right? And the monster manual says 4 to 400. So like Vic says, right there, he rolls the random encounter goblin, and all of a sudden you got potentially 4 to 400 goblins, but they could be in the lair. We're not near the lair, so that's like he said, he did the percentages, and it's the patrol of goblins that they run into, or some version of that. You don't have to have your little adventuring party show up and there's 300 goblins with 7th level trolls and ogres and everything else. You can adjudicate
right that. But I mean we also got to consider too that if there's 300 goblins, they're out for a purpose, and usually it's a war purpose, so they're moving or something, while a smaller band would be 30-40 of them would be more out like foraging, or they're raiding or something like that. They're a group on a mission to collect things for the collective and stuff. I mean, a 300 goblins, and you see them moving through the woods or something, they're on a mission to go do something. And there isn't like, Frank Metzer said it best when I was talking to him, and he said, there's always signs. The bigger the group you're encountering, the more signs there are going to be on the ground or on the trees or whatever. So, if it's only 2 or 3 goblins that are going to try to attack you, you might not know they're there. There's no signs. The wildlife is, normal. You hear the chirping of the birds and everything else. But if you encounter 300, you're going to have smoke. You're going to have debris left behind. There's, it's not everything leaves no trace, and you've got other factors that you got to get into tell the players and stuff like this what's going on. Now, you could switch this around and go back to something like a hippogriff. They're flying around looking for horse meat. You don't know it's going to happen unless your players are paying attention. All of a sudden, these hippogriffs are on them like no time flat, and attacking them. So you got to take each monster and figure out a dynamic of how they're going to want to attack this group. A troll comes out from underneath a bridge. The classic sort of thing. So each encounter, a DM should have something preset in their mind of what they want to do, and then try to execute it to the point and that's why I try to make the players roll everything, because I'm trying to come up with a little scenario of what's happening here and stuff, and things that are going to happen, like, you find an orc arrow on the ground or something like that, and you're walking, and now you're seeing lots of feet that have crossed the roadway from left to right, or something like that. So using a dynamic, you gotta have that dynamic story sort of thing going on in the encounters.
Have you put in, so for instance, on page 182 in your hex crawls, uninhabited areas will occasionally have fortresses when an encounter is indicated 1 in 20 discovers a stronghold. Have you done that? How do you handle that?
Okay. I use Anna Meyer's ghmaps.net. If you go on there, she's got an online map thing, so I'll use that a lot, where I pull up a map and I figure out how far you guys are crawling across. And she's got a lot of stuff already marked out, like where the Temple of Elemental Evil is, and some of the other stuff is already marked there. So I don't really have to worry about that too much. But every once in a while, when I'll roll like bandits. I'll have like, there's an abandoned fort or something like that. You're traveling along, and you're looking and you see, there's an abandoned fort 400 yards away. Are you going to go to it, or you see smoke coming from it or something? Again, you're dealing with a large number. They're going to leave a trace. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to give some type of clues to your party.
Right. So Dan, you could roll this up ahead of time, or you can go on the fly. Again, it's how deep you want to get into some of these, because they do get a little noodly. Like a settlement, you could be rolling a lot of dice to figure out what kind of settlement, who's in it, what kind of mounts they have, what kind of armor, blah 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 blah. I mean, do you roll all that out, or you just kind of go, okay, I get it, they're bandits, and I'm just going to say they have chainmail or ringmail and spear and that kind of
right? Well, everything's laid out in the monster manual for most of that stuff, and but one of the things I don't get into is if a character, my groups usually have a druid in it. There's a ranger somewhere in there, so I don't really get into the iron rations and stuff like that. I make everybody get some, but I figured as they're going through the woods, the druid's going, look, I'm picking these berries as I'm walking along, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. So they've always got food, except for when I get into the extremes, like you're in the snow, or you're in the mountains in the snow, or you're in the desert and stuff like that. When you start getting into the extreme weather conditions and they're way out of their element, then I start going, well, do you have food? Then I start ticking things off on my list, going, okay, well, you had 2 weeks worth of food and you haven't found anything to hunt, So that's when I start adding more, more things they've got to cross the threshold,
And obviously you're a big Greyhawk fan, so you use her maps, but it's in the context of Greyhawk. It's and the folio, right, which came out last year, right, Dan? 1980, the folio?
Folio edition was 1980. Right. That is correct.
And then you've got also in there, I put it up on the chat. If you guys look, you've got the weather calculator. Somebody has done the Greyhawk weather calculator. that you can figure out weather conditions too. It's like, oh, you guys are moving into the snow barbarians. Well, let's see what the weather's like. What kind of equipment do you have on? Are you freezing to death? Are you,
Yeah, I thought the Dragon magazine Greyhawk weather was a little bit cumbersome to use, right? That's because in one of the Dragon magazines it had Greyhawk weather, if I recall.
Right.
But you had to like figure out the latitude and the longitude or whatever. There's a lot of calculations.
Right. And that's why I use this one that's online. It's just so much easier. I can run a month's worth of weather for somebody and go, okay, here it is. It's the first day of Need Fest or whatever, or first day of Need Fest. Here's what the weather is outside,
Well, the one nice thing about the Dragon magazine one, though, if I recall correctly, is they had things like omens, didn't they? Like you could have a rainbow or something. That would be kind of nice. I mean, I don't know if the one online has that too, but
No.
Okay.
No, but it does have stuff like blizzards and light snow and hurricanes.
There's different ones. I haven't used Vic's one, but the one I use off of Donjon it's a weather one, and you can set the moons, and it can have the same periods as the Greyhawk. It's not going to be as geographically precise as the Greyhawk weather, but it does have the eclipses when the two moons are, if there's an eclipse, if both of them are waxing and waning, and it does have omens, and it also has, like Vic, which I like too, is hurricane or blizzard or something like that, and because it just adds the flavor to that. But if they're traveling, this goes back to how much time you want to spend this. If they're traveling from the forest, subtropic, to the mountains, Arctic or whatever, now you've got the weather changing as you go through this months at a time. So it can become a lot of work to do, in theory.
Right, and it does cost players money too, and I emphasize that too. Do you guys have enough and stuff like that? And also with travel, when it was on a discussion on Discord, is the closer you are to a major city, the cheaper the goods will be. While you move further out, stuff is going to cost more, and so that's a money sucker of the their treasure and stuff like that. So, even Gary said inside the DMG, it's going to cost $100 gold pieces a month per character because they like living the high life.
Yeah, I think it's per level, isn't it? Per character per level. So if they're 10th level, they're blowing it's basically the luxury tax, aka siphon their money off.
You're like Al Pacino in Scarface.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and so Dan, I think you can have it very. There's the Vic way, which I kind of moved more towards, which is okay. And so let me ask one more question, Vic. So if you looked at all your sessions for a campaign, how many sessions are in a dungeon percentage-wise versus how many is hex crawling, moving around? Is it a large percentage hex crawling versus dungeons? What's the split?
It depends on which group you're dealing with here. I mean, a lot of the guys, we can move pretty fast through the hex crawl because they'll be like, especially experienced players, like, oh, okay, we can take care of this encounter pretty quickly. I mean, it's bam, 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 or they run. It's the inexperienced players that I'm sitting there going, okay, they're fighting over, the mundane, like who gets the dagger of venom or who gets, it's do we fight them or not? I've had discussions sit there for an hour, go back and forth between a group of players, and they're trying to figure out, do we run from them or do we fight them or what do we do? Or, they're trying to figure out their combat and tactics and stuff. The more experienced players, the faster it is. If it's the less experienced players, it's slower. But it also is a lesson. It's a teaching lesson for the less experienced players because they're learning, different things. Like I once had a session where they were fighting gnolls out in the woods, and they thought, oh, it's only 20 gnolls. Well, it's actually 50 or 60. I was using the smarts, having these gnolls have the smarts where they're trying to do a pincher movement in on the group. And they ended up into a bigger fight than they expected. And then they had to do a fighting withdrawal, So each group is different. Some will run at the immediate sign of danger. Others will sit there and fight it out until the bloody end, So just depends on who you're dealing with.
Right, right. So yeah, I get your point, Dan. It can get very wargamey, especially if you're, like Vic was saying, when they're getting to that 9th, 10th, 11th, they're getting to semi-retirement, they're building strongholds, they're recruiting armies, and now they're fighting other armies, and you're moving overland. But you don't have to do it that way, and you can keep it very high level, and you could set the encounters that you want. I think the other part is you get to use some of the spells and things that you normally, mass morph. When are you using mass morph? This is the only time you'd use mass morph. Spells, there's certain spells that are only useful in the outside overland thing. So Vic, have you run an underwater hexcrawl?
No, I've never run an underwater hexcrawl. I have done it on top of the sea, where I've had people who had to move from like Greyhawk to the Lenore Islands and stuff like that for an encounter or for a module or something like that, but never underwater. The only time I've ever done any underwater stuff was in my youth when we battled some things. I don't remember what it was. We had rings of underwater breathing or whatever it was, and it was a slugfest.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's one of the areas that we didn't cover is there is rules for underwater, and a lot of the spells, obviously Fireball doesn't work so hot underwater. So if you're literally in the water, you're not in like an air bubble inside there. So you have to look at all those spells, and there's a new complexity. That would be kind of a cool, somehow you get polymorphed into fish or something, or you have gills and you kind of have to do an underwater adventure. You're aquatic gnomes, maybe, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys, out of curiosity, do you guys assume that your PCs can all swim?
No. I've ruled it, especially if somebody gets thrown in the water or something like that, and they've got plate mail armor. I've drowned a couple characters before.
Well, and not just that. No, I mean, yes, because there are rules, and I assume, James, that's where you're heading, right? I know there's rules for it. It's got to be their magical armor, and I think even in magical armor, Gary says you can only doggy paddle, which is interesting. You got to get rid of your armor, but can everyone swim? Like, so a lot of races don't like water. I think but halflings don't like water, right?
I think those gnomes would drown in a heartbeat. I mean, I don't think gnomes are like.
Swim. I mean, they swim. I mean, are little gnomes getting swimming lessons? I mean, it's kind of like reading and writing. I mean, obviously for magic, but if let's say you're a fighter that has an intelligence of 7, are we sure you can read?
Right. And I think that goes back to your secondary skill roll. When you're in the DMG, you got the secondary skill roll. If you're a fisherman or something like that, you would naturally assume that. But if you're a miner from the mountains,
a limner,
what are the odds you're going to learn how to swim?
Yeah, but the players won't like that.
Well, or you could do it this other way of kind of like with the keen hearing. This is the first time you're swimming, roll a d20. Give them a 50-50 chance. Hey, you're a swimmer. And if they roll a 1 or 2, you're a really good swimmer. Oh, you don't know how to swim, and now you're going to drown. Yeah. And the rules for swimming, assuming you know how to swim, and if you have magic armor or not, is on page 55. Basically, as soon as your character says, "Well, I have 1850 strength. I want to swim in my plate mail," you go, "You're drowning. Have a nice time." No one cares about your strength.
Yeah, and I've done that before. Is that I've ruled it where people have been thrown in the water, and I'm like, okay, you've got 1 minute to get out of your armor, otherwise you're dead. What type of armor do you have? And it depended on what type of armor the person's saying. I was like, oh, I've got plate mail. Well, you're dead. You've got no chance. Because you can't get that armor off in time. Now, if they said they have chain, they've got a chance, depending on if it's like just a chainmail shirt, they can just lift it off and throw it off. All right, they've lost so much weight, so it just depends on what's going on there. It's just another dynamic you can throw into the game, especially if they're like crossing a river or something like that.
Well, because they hate to take their armor off. So Doom Driver asked, what about the battle system? Have you used the battle system, Vic? And what are your thoughts? I'll be right back.
I have not used the battle system.
Oh, he's getting battle system. We had that back in the day. Yeah, that's for large scale combat, right? If I recall correctly. Which I mean, I liked that idea. I mean, I liked the idea of incorporating large scale combat because I liked this idea that other things were going on in the world. That there was,
Most of my large scale combat was what I would do is just have two groups to say, all right, this group of 10, I'd roll 20. Yeah, I'd get 10 20-sided dice for these. Each 10-sided die equals 10 guys. And if they rolled a 20, I'd roll damage and I'd figure out how much damage this 10 group did to this 10 group. And all right, this 10 group slayed this one and stuff like that. And that would be our basic combat for anything large scale combat sort of thing. And you'd have armor on each side, and that's how I would do it. Just sort of like individual combat, except for it'd be like.
So this must be the second version, because we actually used one, but this one is still not been used. It's like out of the box. This is
what's the copyright on that? Yeah, that was I think that was early 80s.
84, 85, right at the end of the real world.
Oh wow. That shows I was definitely still playing, obviously. I mean, I played through the 80s, but
so obviously it's as good as Unearthed Arcana.
What's that?
The date's not the problem with Unearthed Arcana. It's not the date that was the problem. It was not like 1985. It was like a bad date. James, did you use that for combat?
We did, because we must have had two of them, and I must have took the other one, because we did use it a couple of times, and people were asking, where do you get hex paper from? I have 1980s hex paper here still. It's just so cool looking through this nonsense. But yes, so we used it because we liked, like Vic said, we wanted to build armies, but it's a mini game. It's not D&D, it brings you back to it brings you back to its wargaming roots, and some players they didn't play the Avalon Hill games. They don't know about facing and morale and routing and all these other things. We did, because we were all friends, so we had similar skill sets, so it was good. More modern players may not like this. It's a lot of work, but it does bring and I'm sure, and I know other people have built simpler systems, like, before we had this, like Vic, we would do the same thing. We'd kind of guess the random strength. We'd roll dice and kind of go, yeah, you lost 20% of your people. The issue becomes, I think it's a better game. The simple game is, there's like 3 modes. There's like simple, medium, and hard. The simple game's good because it assumes basic armies fighting each other. Dwarves versus zombies. It becomes complicated when you have now dragons and wizards, because you got fireball and death spell, and you cast a fireball in this unit. How many of them get destroyed? It can be, you could spend many sessions just doing this. In fact, they wrote adventures that kind of was hybrid. You do some adventuring and it's definitely, you have to have the right people to play with this. And because now you've got a table with all your miniatures, and we used to use just, our miniatures were dice. We never used miniatures because we were cheap and we weren't painters. Now you got miniatures.
Does Battle System require miniatures, or I thought it came
it
with
has
like
little chicks. Yeah, it has little chicks that you have. But you need a big, you need a giant table, back like with Panzer Leader or Panzer Squad. You got a big table and you're stacking units and everything else. So one other thing, which we could talk a little bit about, because this kind of blends into it, from Vale. Have you heard of West March's style? And have you used it? And what would be curious if you have tips on making zones out of wilderness and generating random landmarks? That's what they're asking.
Okay. I didn't know what West Marches is until about 30 seconds ago, so I just read about it. Yes, I've done it. Here's what I did with a campaign. I put a gate in the woods where the players found it. They didn't, and they went into a whole new world. I mean, starting out with just a plain hex map, they landed in a arch. They came out of an arch in a plains. And then I just let them go nuts. Then they started to do circles and figure out what's around them. And I rolled random encounters and everything else. And then they'd start finding stuff, and I'd start putting like villages here. a mountain here, a stream here, or an ocean here, and stuff like that. And they've sort of built their own world. And it was probably 500 by 500 miles. They finally got to that point. Then they said, all right, we're out of here. And they ran back to the thing and went back to Greyhawk. But yes, I've done something sort of that, like that, where they've made their own world. And it takes a DM a fair amount of time to start figuring that out, because they got to start writing the lore and everything else that Gary Gygax did for Greyhawk. And that just takes too much of my time currently to sit there and go, all right, I've got to write out, like, this is the ruler of this is the metals they have there, this is the population, this is who they're at war with and who they're friendly with and stuff like that. It just gets, there's too much there right now for me to even consider doing anything like that ever again.
So my, what, did you use charts generation of what's on a hex? Do you use the charts on a hex? And I'll answer the West Marches, my version of that. So do you use any charts for generation for what's on a hex? Or how do you determine on the map on Greyhawk what's on the hex?
There was Gary had something in the DMG, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember where it's at in here, but it does have a way to transition that. I don't remember the page or anything like that. There is a way to do it.
So
that's what I was using.
So West Marches was something I tried to do. I've tried to do it a number of times. And the idea of West Marches is the concept, not just the hexcrawl. I mean, hexcrawl is part of it. The idea is, and we've all had this, the players show up and they go, okay, Vic, what are we doing this week? And so it's up to the DM to decide what the next adventure is. And if the DM says, we're going to go to the temple, and half the people go, oh, I don't want to go to the temple, and they go somewhere else, well, all that work you put in. So the idea of West Marches is, hey, you show up at a tavern. This is some guy wrote, I forgot his name, and he wrote a blog about it. You come up with this, you say there's a tavern, you're all meeting there. The town is a safe zone. There's no adventuring in the town. All the adventuring's out in the wilderness. And that you start with like 3 rumors. You guys tell me which one you're interested in, and I'm available on Tuesday. So if you want to play, you guys get together. Tell me on Tuesday which rumor you're going to.
And if you guys want to know about that, go look at the Scourge of the North, SOTN, Greyhawk Adventure. I put up 6 rumors that they hear at the bar, so they get to pick out of those 6. And right now, what they just did is they got done with a module called Isle of Steroy. They left there. They went up to the Snow Barbarians. Now they're headed through a area called, just headed towards Greyhawk on a land adventure. And they've come into a little village. And now they're learning about a frosted giant queen or empress who is buried up in the mountains where her lair is. And now the ball's just starting to roll on this. They're at the tavern still, and they're trying to get enough information to figure out where this tomb is to go tomb raiding. So they've got different things they can do, but en route I'll throw in an adventure or small adventures for them to go, hey, let's go off this tangent here and let's go over here and see what this is all about.
Right. And so that's your world, and you have these things, and allows you to do that. The other part that this guy was trying to solve was he had too many players, and he also, or more people could play, and if they didn't want to do the same thing, and you could have multiple DMs, because there's not a storyline. It's just an area that you explore. So Dan, you and I could be the DMs, and one of the rumors is, go out to the hidden tower, and you tell us, yeah, there's a tower out there. Dan could write the adventure, and they go out, and then they bring rumors back, and they go, oh, that's great, and you're still busy because you're doing something else. I could run when they go into the graveyard, and it becomes this evolving world where they keep based on crawling and this and that. That's kind of that's the idea of it, right? And then there's that idea of kind of an MMO thing of you're in the closer you are to the home base, the less dangerous it is, and the more dangerous as you keep moving out and out, because the better stuff's out there. And so that's the idea of West Marches. I liked it, so I did a version of that using, but the town of Flan, I renamed it. I used the old Pool of Radiance thing. And the farther you got away from the home area is more dangerous. And I had 2 or 3 other DMs who were part of the party, and they're like, hey, you want to take a break? I'm like, sure, okay. Here's an area I haven't done. Go build something out. So we all could take turns. You know, the challenge is you still have your player, and what would happen is, so Vic, if you were running, your character would be in the tavern. The rest of us would go, and then when you came back, if I was running, my character would sit in the tavern, and then we would go someplace else. So it allowed for more than one DM to run at the same time, and there wasn't a whole lot of overlap. You know, you didn't have a quote unquote big bad at the end. You just kept exploring more and more out of there. So that's what the West Marches, the story that he told, and what I thought it was interesting is it gave a DM a break. It wasn't up to me to figure out what everyone was doing. The players, like you said, here's a list of things. You pick what you want to do, and so I'm not writing 6 adventures. I'm writing 1, and it allowed people to take changes. So that's the difference.
Well, see, most of my adventures when they're doing this stuff is on the fly, anyways. I've got general ideas back in my head somewhere, you know, in the repository of adventures. But then they say, okay, I want to go do this. Okay, I got a general idea what's going on. And then they go, you know, I've had them like go tentatively explore going to do that adventure, and then they back right out. It's like, I'm not going to the necropolis of Ul, you know, and they run away. You know, let's revisit this necropolis when we get a little higher level. Okay, that's fine by me. That just gives me more time to etch out what I want. You know what I mean? So my 6 are really like 2 or 3 that I've got fleshed out. It's, you know, I mean, they get to the necropolis of Ul, you know, they're going to be immediately attacked, you know, constantly. And, you know, they're going to want to run.
Exactly.
You know.
So some people are asking, and we're going to wrap it up, what kind of tools? Yeah, obviously, the DMG has plenty of stuff. Fiend Folio, Monster Manual 2 have random tables. There are products. The Greyhawk Folio has random tables for the monsters specific to the kingdoms, the type of encounters.
Right.
There were the Book of Layers, which came out later, which again, so you have the situation, they're walking down and you have zombies. They have a zombie layer, and it has kind of a little one-page. So
I use that donjon like you do. I have to go up to donjon. I just make a quick one right there. I'll just use the map, but I'll rip out the monsters, and I'll just throw the monsters away and go, okay, here's what's going to happen.
Donjon has a random weather generator, random treasure generator, random NPC generator. A lot of things that Vale's trying to incorporate too. So, and of course the Rogues Gallery, which is a classic thing, has random NPCs, random pilgrim caravan, random bandit caravan. Right.
And I'll use the Wilderness Adventure Guide if you're able to get, you know, if you're able to get hold of one. Hey, great! I'll use that because I'm like right now my guys are in the lowlands of the Snow Barbarians, and they're going to have to go up in the mountains. So I'm waiting to see now if they're going to get properly equipped to go up in the mountains, and then I've got, you know, to rule on, you know, how much the rate of travel and everything else, and figure out, you know, how they're going to go about this. And, you know, I sort of randomly roll. I'll grab a 4-sided die and a percentile, and I'll roll it up, and I'll say, okay, it's 200 miles up to the you know, this layer that they've got to go get to, and then from there they'll jump off to do some other stuff. And you know,
and I think you can either, again, you can go full all these things, or you can just pick a theme out of, it's cold, so you're going to deal with the cold issues in that one thing, or they're in a swamp and there's disease, which is another favorite of your tables, Dan, getting the random disease that you can get out. So
oh, I love the random disease table. Lately I've been pulling that one out a lot. Oh, everybody roll a percentage die. Why? You're in a goblin lair. You think this is going to be clean?
Your hands were in a dice tray. I mean, you're good. In fact, we should, wait a minute.
You're a
Sorry, Dan,
tray, you know?
we got to roll. Got to
You need to
roll.
roll?
Got to
You
roll.
rolling
See what
for
kind
me?
of disease you got.
Yeah. Maybe this is the way I die. Remember, we're getting close.
It
in
kind of
time.
makes sense. So base chance of 2%. Modify.
Well, this is definitely a dirty
Yep.
environment. I should be the highest.
Are you aware
chance,
if you're
right?
currently diseased or infected with parasites?
I'm not aware. I'm unaware.
Sorry, Dan, you didn't pass on my left. No, actually,
Filth.
I got 75%.
There is some filth, right? So that's plus 1%.
Yeah, I'd say his house.
Are you old or
Oh, yeah.
venerable?
Look at the white. Is that a white bedroom set over there or something? You can see a bed.
I think I'm old on the charts. I think I'm not. I don't think I'm venerable. Hang on.
You're
Let's see what we
middle-aged.
all are. No, I'm middle aged. This is awesome.
Did you subtract
great.
1 point strength and constitution?
Yes, and thank God, because now I could only be I couldn't be a character because
You
I'm
don't want that roll.
a 5 on both of those. I'm glad I didn't start there.
So based on this,
Oh, God.
you have about a
Hey.
5% chance of getting disease. So roll for that.
Well, that's increasing the chance that I have to roll. This is a conundrum.
Ooh.
11.
Ooh.
Well,
Close.
You just skated
actually,
by that
I'm
one,
sorry.
Dan.
I think you may have gotten
Oh.
it. Can we say that your cat was exposure to carrier of communicable disease? That's
Yes,
plus 10%.
yes.
Then you got it.
Oh,
Because it's
do I get a save? You
no,
don't even
now,
get a
now we
saving
got to
throw,
do
do you?
disease. Roll percentages. I'm sorry.
Roll your percentage, Dan.
83.
83. It's the respiratory system. Oh, great. You got COVID. D6, D8.
D8. Okay. 7.
It's chronic, and D8. Terminal.
Oh, like pneumonia or something.
roll D12.
Oh my God. Okay.
You
8.
have 8 days to live.
Oh, so all right. So this is
I'm
my
sorry.
last
Here.
grog talk.
I'm sorry. D8, you said? You have 8 months to live.
Yes.
Oh. Respiratory disorders of chronic severe nature are 10% likely to cause 1 point of strength of constitution. Check separately. Terminal cases take from 1 to 12 months until fatality occurs.
I'm gonna die right before GrogCon. I'm sorry. What the
convention that we are hosting.
Yes.
All right.
He's gonna be wheeled in on a respirator.
This will be the memorial, the Grog Talk Dan Memorial charity event.
Yeah. Yes, you should stuff me. I could be next to the table. Yeah, we sell tickets.
You gotta get that Go Delicious mask I sent you the link for.
That's right. The whole
Amazon.
headpiece. So, well, very good. Hey, so Vic, give us a D10 and see how the show went.
Find out. Which color do you want to know? Oh, Jesus.
5. That's average. I feel pretty average. Though I think it's +1 because we killed Dan off, but apparently we should.
Right.
No, those are embedded in the rolls. We shouldn't do that.
That's true.
Right? That's embedded. The dice don't lie. It's embedded.
That's true. So, Vic, like I said, thanks for your help and insight on hex crawls. We need to get you back on to do that the next few sessions because we haven't done that in a while. But we also got to do Jeopardy. We're going to do. Do you want to be a guest on Grog Talk Jeopardy or D&D Jeopardy?
Oh, what the heck?
I think because Rob, we got to get him on next time to do D&D Jeopardy, so you can play with us. So on behalf of Grog Talk, I'm James.
I'm Dan.
And who are you?
You.
Exactly. We got Vic on.
That's Vic. All right, Vic. See you later.
And we'll see you guys next time on Grog Talk. Take care.